Welcome in on this Monday, the 22nd of June. We've already been through the longest days of the year. Hard to believe. As time has marched on, and time seems a weird concept since March 11th. I think we all would agree with that. And today the news, not exactly what you would say would be positive at all. Sort of a stern message from the mayor today about possibly having to go back to phase one, but it can be avoided if we mask up. And both Mayors Harris and Strickland were pretty on point with that. In fact, they are going to distribute 20,000 face masks in Whitehaven alone. So serious stuff there. Crazy stuff over the weekend, or as we kept going, just in the world of COVID, 11,365 new cases in 3 days has shaken up folks that are thinking about going to the NBA today. Bowdoin College, I think that's how you pronounce it, in Maine, a Division III school, has said they're not going to play any sports this fall or winter. Hopefully they'll get to play some in the spring. You know, the Major League Baseball shut down all 30 of their spring training facilities after 40 Major League Baseball players or staff tested positive. And so there's more than labor woes when it comes to the Major League Baseball players. And in the NFL, their Players Association advised their players to stop practicing with one another. Work out on your own. It is, Brett, kind of a weekend, and today a little bit, steps backwards, not steps forwards like we would have hoped.
And, you know, the old college football saying is Bowdoin College goes, so goes the rest of college football. And they have decided not to play. Came as a mystery to me that they ever had ever played. But there's also, in the raft of numbers, there are good numbers. The recovery numbers are good. The fatality numbers are good. I think even in Florida, right there in Orange County, and we will go to Orange County at 5 o'clock and visit with Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports. He's a native of Orlando. He lives there. He covers the NBA out of there. He will join us again. He's been with us a lot during this, and they are ramping up. In Florida, the median age has plummeted to upper 20s and low 30s. And almost no issues for that age group in patients. I think that's a good sign that it is going down because they're not likely to ever have a really a ill day from it. A lot more positive tests for sure with the ramp up in testing, and it also may be proving that the virus is not as virulent as we once thought. Almost no one under 50 dies. Statistically, almost no one under 50 dies. Virus deaths down 90% since late April. Shouldn't that be a screaming headline somewhere today? According to COVID-19 Project, 90% since late April. I think that should be really trumpeted by a lot of the people in the media. The virus represented 4%. 4% of all deaths in the United States yesterday, 297 virus deaths yesterday, the lowest since March 24th. So that means 7,200 people died in the United States yesterday of something other than the virus.
I think the fatality numbers are the one glimpse of hope that you get. I agree with that. And I hope that will sway, but I'm not sure that it will as long as colleges. Kansas State football had to suspend practice for 14 days after they had positive tests. And so I don't know where colleges will go with this. I know that there is a meeting amongst the city administration and a lot of the local sports administrators in Memphis. They're meeting today. Maybe some news will come out of that. I certainly hope that we, and I think this is the accurate word to use. I hope that they will be fluid too, because here as we stand on June 22nd was certainly enough separation where you don't have to make any final decisions about anything at this point, but have plans for everything. I think that's where you have to be.
I do too. Nationwide, 122,000 sad fatalities. Very sad. 1 million people recovered in Shelby County, 164 deaths, 5,500 recovered.
Yeah.
So it tells me that if you get it, it is most unlikely that you will die from it.
That is true. That appears to be overwhelming the case almost everywhere you go. And as you had said, if you're under 20, the odds.
If you're under 50,
the odds of you dying from it are so remote. 50.
I mean,
it goes
most
up
places
a little bit.
Most places the numbers are 0.0 and then some other numbers, whether it's in the United States, Shelby County, DeSoto County, Crittenden County, where I live, St. Francis County, it's 0.001. In Orange County, where the NBA, where they are headed, where the Toronto Raptors boarded the world champion Toronto Raptors boarded a team plane, they're headed to Orange County. 0.0034. 48 people have passed from it.
The point there is, though, with 11,365 new cases in 3 days in the state of Florida, of which I think there were 4,500 in Orange County, you have to be willing to say, I don't mind fighting through it. So if an NBA player goes, I don't want it at all, then you could understand their fear. And there are some, because there was an announcement today that Washington Wizards forward Davis Bertrands has said, I'm healthy, but I don't want to go. We had heard earlier.
You don't have to.
We had heard earlier that Justice Winslow was iffy about going as well. But then there was a story today. The Grizzlies, by the way, are in the midst of signing Anthony Tolliver. Again, remember they had signed him to a 10-day.
Longest 10-day ever.
Yeah, it was. Well,
that was 10 long days.
It ended.
That's Max with the Beatles, 8 days a week.
Yeah. So he's going to resign, and in the story that I read about him resigning, it was indications were that all the Grizzlies, I guess, including Winslow, may have had a change of mind over the weekend, were going to head to Orlando. I know we will find that out middle of this week. On Wednesday, we should get
Wednesday's a big day.
Yes, it is.
Wednesday's a big day, and these are big days. This is the 25th Monday of this calendar year, 2020. Next week, we'll wrap up the first calendar half of the year as we see June 30th come and go. We will have our sports stories for that part of the year. You'll be away, Dave, but I want you to leave yours with Drew if you can, please. 5 local, 5 national, and as best we can, separate it from just kind of number 1, the virus, 2, the virus, 3, the virus, 4, the virus. I still think Kobe Bryant's death is the biggest story of this first half of the year for this reason. Because so far, with the exception of some PGA Tour events and the NBA lost games and baseball, the absence of baseball, most of the other stuff like the Masters, like the PGA, like the U.S. Open, it's still planned for the second half of the year. College football, pro football. So Kobe's death still what was the shocker. Now at the end of the year when we go 10 for the year, it may not be if we've had a canceled World Series and a canceled college football season and a canceled Masters and a canceled start to college. The cancellation of the NCAA tournament may be number 2 right now.
That could very well be cancellation of the Olympics. I mean, all these cancellations. No.
Olympics not canceled, postponed until next year.
But not happening this year. Cancellation.
But not happening in 2020.
Cancellation of the Boston Marathon, which what was that?
That's a big one.
124-year run. That would be up there.
For
Memphis,
keep your thinking cap on that.
Would you say for Memphis, just the fact that the WGC got moved and could be the second tournament with people, if it happens, that could be there. Mike Miller,
but it wouldn't happen until after the second half.
Oh, okay, that's true. Mike Miller
I think the biggest local sports story is Southern Heritage Classic canceled.
canceling, and I think you're probably right because that one we know is now canceled, even though it doesn't take place until later in the year. But the news was definitely shocking. I think Mike Miller's leaving would be up there. I really hadn't
save them, leave them with Drew.
I will do that,
and we'll do it.
We'll
do it a week from Thursday. We'll do it in your absence. Also, at this time, unless there was blockbuster news before 2:59:59, where's your baseball deal?
Well,
you bet on Rob Manfred, Dave.
I might have to say, big trouble.
Dave, you bet on Rob Manfred.
Big trouble. There's only one really bit of good news for me today.
What is that, Dave?
Stock market went back up 153 points.
Stock market's
we're
over
26 again. That's it. That's all I got. So I think I owe I owe
our age group. Yeah. Our age group deserves something because we're not, either one of us are not in any of that really free and clear for the virus. Make me a little closer with every age down. So at least we got to have a little retirement market news, good news.
Absolutely. I think every restaurant I owe you a dinner in for this now, right? We start with steak, we go to lobster somewhere, then we're going for ribs somewhere like the commissary. Then that's what I owe you for this.
And Drew, a lot of whiskey.
I think actually we are all even now on the
maybe
Schwab
a distillery.
Bet. I think the Schwab bet evens this whole thing out. Next one will be
Dave. You bet on Rob Manfred. I had more faith in you than that. You bet on a man named Fred.
Well, I will tell you, I think all those
he didn't even work
facilities getting closed because of COVID. That ended any chance they had of really figuring this thing out.
He was so glad too.
Don't you think this is just about it? I mean, if they are really sincere that they have to end this baseball season before September ends because of a second wave possibility, and every day you got to add 4 weeks before you can really get going.
They're saying that's not the case anymore, that they can do it a lot faster. I don't know why they couldn't have done that in May. And they're also saying this. Have you heard? In case if we do restart, we know about the DH. We know about the potential for from the 12th inning on putting the runner at second base.
Right.
Also in a Bob Nightingale story, just kind of down there in the fine print, late innings, reentry.
Wow.
You're never scratched.
Man, that would really be a change. You have to wait.
That'll bring the fans back to the ballpark.
Wait.
Every baseball fan I run into that really doesn't like baseball, the first thing he or she tells me, if you could only put Shane Robinson back in the game after you used him as a pinch hitter, I'd go more often. I hear that everywhere I go. It's amazing. Everywhere I go, if baseball had re-entry, that'd make me watch more.
Did you look in that fine print as to when? I mean, what are the parameters that you can reuse a player? Does it have to be in the 12th?
Late innings, Dave. You decide.
What the heck does late innings
hey, Dave.
mean?
Late innings.
Oh, my gosh, that is terrible.
And you've run into a bunch of people like that. I'm sure at the golf course, people go, now, Dave, you and Brett and me, you old fogies, y'all all like baseball, and I don't, but I would if they would let somebody go back in the game after they're scratched.
Yeah. I do.
You get that a bunch, don't you?
I get that some. I get more just arguments on the DH because I'm the old school guy. I love the National League. I love double switches. I love the strategy. I used to have that argument. This is a long argument, though. I mean, we're going back. I used to have sometime inebriated arguments, heavy, with Paul Hartledge, who loved the DH.
He did love the DH. But you've never had the first discussion about reentry with anyone.
No.
Ever. Nobody has. Manfred is doing everything he can to kill the game. It's long been said that he literally has that suggestion box in his office, in the Major League Baseball offices, and that he wants just about any and all input. I've got one thing I want to put in his suggestion box. Resign immediately.
Okay. I knew it was going to be one of the R words, retire or resign. I have to see the parameters. First of all, just because that is in a story with air quotes, I mean, that has to be passed by committees, right? I mean, that can't just be put into play. That would have to be okayed by everybody, including the Players Association, all the owners. I can't imagine that would go in. That would change the whole strategy.
I can't imagine
of
Bob
baseball.
Nightingale putting it in a story just for giggles either.
Man.
This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity late June into July sales event. Great offers on all 2020 models and always special lease options. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in a Lexus, too. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, the word of the day is mask up to avoid having to go back to phase one. And we mentioned the distribution of 20,000 in Whitehaven alone by city and county government. Shelby was up 210 cases since yesterday after we only had 44 on Sunday, a total of 8,094. That's your total list of cases. 164 COVID-related deaths, 5,500 recoveries. Now, we've had 109, almost 110,000 tests. We had 2,097 today. That was at 10%. But here's another bright spot in all of this, in my mind, Brett. No need to open up 495 Union yet, and from the mayor, we got a long way to go. A month ago, though, here's where he's worried. There were 100 to 120 hospitalizations. Now we are getting 200 to 220 beds used on a daily basis. Dashboard.
And Dr. Jane told us in Shelby County we had 3,700 beds.
I think that was correct, yeah. I know that in the state, where there were 400 being used, there were 37,000 beds. So we are far from any kind of area like they had
Collapse
in Italy,
the
where the system was overtaken. That is just not even in any.
You're right about mask up, Dave, and I keep mask with me for wherever I go, for where it is required, and even in some places where it's not. I think we should remember when we couldn't get a mask. Yeah. Remember when we couldn't get a ventilator.
Right. Well, now that and that's the good news. And I think I did hear somebody from the White House today or yesterday say basically, the one thing is we will be well stocked. If there is another second wave in September, as they say, there will be enough ventilators. There will be enough respirators to go around. We will continue to stockpile. And so that is absolutely excellent news in that regard. And the mask thing is going to be mandatory. So you got to remember, if you're going into a store, if you're going into a public building, you have to have a mask on. If you're going into a restaurant, you have to wear the mask in. You can take it off when you eat after you order. Would be the smart thing to do because there will be an interaction with your server. And you're protecting each other by wearing it. In the dashboard around the world, we're over 9 million cases now, 472,000 fatalities. We have had
worldwide
472,000.
Right.
That is correct. Worldwide, this is the dash. Yeah, the 9 million cases, 472 deaths, but we're talking 4 2/3 million recoveries. In the United States, 2,368,000 cases, 122,000 have passed away, but we're getting near 1 million recoveries at 984 million. 35,000 cases in Tennessee, 526 fatalities, 21,000 in Mississippi with 943 who have passed. Arkansas, 15,561 and 225.
My top story, PGA Championship official. It will be held in San Francisco at Harding Park the week after the scheduled WGC FESJI here. The PGA Championship will be without fans, so the week before the WGC FESJI, the tournament in Minneapolis, will be fanless. Only one tournament, the Memorial Tournament, set to have fans along with Memphis.
Right.
Mask, I think at both the Memorial and in Memphis with fans will be required and very limited attendance. I think the days of a throng around 18 on Sunday or even on a Saturday won't be happening. It'll be very limited on each hole, tee box, greens, even along fairways.
The Memorial, they have listed, I know capacity, or that I've read, and again, keep in mind with all of these stories, everything is fluid. It could change with new data at any point. But they are limiting to 8,000 the amount of people that can be on the grounds for the Memorial. That may include TV, players, family members.
Is that per day?
Whatever it may be. You know what? That's a good
8,000
question.
per day?
I think that could be correct, but I don't know. Because numbers that you hear that we may have in Memphis, that could be total. So we'll have to wait and absolutely see.
Sure
Here,
could be.
The irony to all that, in my mind, is they picked Harding Park. Part of the reason why was they could have huge galleries. They were expecting to sell 40,000 tickets a day, and now they're going to hold it, of course, without anybody. But at least it is definitely going.
So Tiger will
to
play
happen.
at a fanless event.
Yes, he will. There is no doubt. Could be playing here. I don't know how many fans we'll have yet, but again, all of that is fluid.
Not top story of the day.
That is NASCAR, and boy, some of the behavior just heartbreaking when you think they're getting it.
Well, it's criminal.
And
the U.S. Attorney and the FBI are on the scene and should be.
They are. So if you haven't heard, Bubba Wallace in his garage, there was a noose that was put in there by somebody. He drives for Richard Petty. Richard Petty is now going to the next event to stand by his driver. Everybody in NASCAR is upset, but that wasn't the only.
He drives the number 48, the King's car,
Right.
or 43, I'm sorry. 43, yeah.
43. That's not the only racist story. Somebody paid for a Confederate flag to be flown over the golf course and a sign attached to it that said, defund NASCAR. Bad behavior.
I wonder if it was the same dope that
NASCAR.
flew the Fire Houston airplane over Razorback Stadium. When that started, I said, we're going down a bad track with this. You can't tell me public safety-wise, air traffic control, the FAA can't say, no, you're not flying that over. I don't care what your banner says.
You know what? Somebody would give you freedom of speech. That's speech.
Well, but the FAA can. But they trump it all on airspace, don't they? They can decide what comes in and what comes out.
That would be a Supreme Court decision, but I think most of the time the FAA has to deal with issues of safety as opposed to freedom of speech rights.
But just ridiculous. And Dave, who in the world, what kind of dope is rolling around with the spare noose around?
I don't know. Dope is the accurate description.
Who would it? I've never seen one. I've never thought. I'm gonna keep my extra noose ready today, and that was somebody on the inside because it's locked down.
Oh, no doubt, and they'll find out somehow. They'll figure it out,
and they will find out. I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, that's my not top. Your top, not top. Sorry.
I got a little exercise. I'm sorry, Dave. And people thought a sport ran by a man named Fred would be back by now. Come on, Dave. Fred Manfred didn't work the weekend. You know he didn't. He took off, lounged at the pool, probably went out to the Hamptons, didn't accomplish anything. Remember when Trevor Bauer was saying spring training 2 was going to start on June 11th and games would be played July 2nd? July 2nd is a week from this Thursday. No games.
I think we're going to have to wait till next February for pitchers and catchers to report. It's getting more and more. that way, so it seems. We got a busy show coming your way today. We'll start with Ted Butler. I got a great stat for all of you guys with Ted Butler. We'll talk golf and Hilton Head and Harbor Town with Ted, then David Cobb on college sports, Dick Girardi on Tis the Law. Kevin Smith in Orlando from Yahoo Sports to talk about what's going on with the NBA down there. Crunch time at 5:50. Always on Mondays, we're busy. Good to be back. Hope you had a great Father's Day, and we'll see how Ted's Father's Day golf excursion, if he had one, went yesterday. We're underway on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get a customer's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or buy their products? By overcharging you in the first place, that's how. Five Ash Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service possible and do it at a fair price, why would I need gimmicks to sell it? Best products, best warranties, and best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. Five Ash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. This portion of the show brought to you by the Spirit Shop. You know that wonderful little place at Poplar and St. Nick, 4848 Poplar. You may have exhausted your supply for the weekend. It was Father's Day. I know my kids came and wiped out the beer supply. I'll be going to see Eddie Connor this week. There is no question about that. You should too. If you want premium wines or the newest, the best, the bargains, you want to get educated, you go see my guy Eddie Connor and his family that have been running that place forever. They've been around since 1969 in East Memphis, perfectly located, that little log cabin right down from Clark Tower, 4848 Poplar. And he's got every accessory you could possibly use. They even like little rubs to rim your glasses, like for a margarita. They've got that. If you would like dips for chip that might have a little jalapeno sort of kick to it, he's got that. Anything that you want that goes with spirits or food that matches with spirits, Eddie Connor and his family have it at the Spirit Shop. Now they're doing it because you know it's tight in there. They're only doing it with curbside. They have a little tent outside, people there ready to help you out. The easiest way to do it is I would call in advance. I'd give my credit card. Then when you get there, show your ID. They'll just bring it right to you. You want it in the trunk, they'll do that. Your back seat, whatever it may be, they make it easy for you to restock your spirits at the Spirit Shop, 4848 Poplar and St. Nick. On Mondays, we talk golf with the master. That would be Ted Butler, who, Ted, I don't know what it is. We saw Daniel Berger. He always wins the second a week in June when he's won the 3 times. Now we got Webb Simpson, who's won twice now on Father's Day, once on Mother's Day. If it's a holiday like that, the guy's got a chance to win. And they absolutely, again, ripped up what I always thought was
it up.
Just a difficult, precise golf course, and they hit stingers and irons instead of woods, and they just absolutely kill the course.
Well, we've seen this the last couple of years now. These guys are so good. When you get conditions like they have with no wind, soft fairways, soft greens, they're going low. You know, they just they're that good. It's what makes the British Open and other tournaments like that fun. But when it's just no wind and stuff like that, it's just they're really that good.
Somebody had asked me, a guy who knows golf, and he wondered if for the last couple of weeks they've just put all these pins in the easiest positions, kept the greens
That's
at
a
a
great
reasonable
question.
speed because they wanted these guys to look good. Is that playing into this at all? They don't want it to be too hard for them?
I never would have thought that. I don't know. I don't think so. The guys are good. If they put the pins in the corners, you know, they can still work it in there and cut it in there and draw it in there. I don't think they're in the middle of the greens trying to make these guys look good. They already are.
They are really good, Ted. Can you imagine some of the group down at, let's say, 13 under, that a lot of years that would have won at Hilton Head in a romp. 13 under gets you a T28.
It's hard to imagine 22 under on that golf course. You know, it used to be, from what I remember, kind of terrifying. You know, it was tight and everybody was a little scared here and there. And
Yeah.
8, 9, 10 under pars, good scores, and they had, I guess, you know, you said the pins maybe a little closer to the water than they do now on some of the par threes, but it was pretty exciting, though. You got to say, I mean,
It was
big names, and who knows what's going to happen down the stretch. You know, birdie 5 out of 6 holes, and that guy's on a run.
I don't have the rounds in front of me. Maybe you do, Stats. I'm wondering, you mentioned 28, tied for 28th to go 13 under. How many guys never had a round in the 70s? In other words, all 4 rounds were in the 60s. I was looking at that. There might have been
that'd be hard to
10
keep
guys.
up with.
There might have been 10 guys.
And Abraham Answer goes for the last 3 rounds, 64, 65, 65, and loses by a stroke.
Well, I guess they wanted Abe, and they got him.
Well, we are seeing so much depth because, really, I mean, you got Daniel Berger and Webb Simpson who've won it, and Simpson's won a major, so it's not like he's not a big name, but we're not seeing the great names, the Brooks Koepka. Although here he comes,
Right?
He might be coming back, but Rory McIlroy it does not seem to be the way he was at the end before the pandemic hit. Dustin Johnson seems a little bit lost. Jordan Spieth's going to be in the 70s at least one round, mid-70s every time he tees it up. Some of the bigger names, JT, Justin Thomas hasn't played quite up to his standard yet. Maybe we're seeing, it's two tournaments in. We're not really seeing any kind of trends, but these guys are slow in getting to it.
Yeah, well, they'll be there. It's when you watch, glad to see Brooks Koepka play well on a short, tight golf course. Sergio's back in there. The what was it? Fratelli shot 62. Is that right? And then
bright and early on Sunday, and he said, "I'm going to pack. This will never stand."
I saw a bit of an article before. I didn't get to finish it, but it was Rory McIlroy said, "Now it reminds you why I didn't come back here or why I don't play here." Just not suited to his game. But it's interesting. The rest of the year coming up, I'm looking forward to it. A lot of guys are playing great. One question:
Dead last
where,
was 2 under.
Dead last. Wow.
2 under.
Question: where are the 2 Opens going to be? You just announced the PGA. Where are the U.S. and the British Open's going to be?
There
No
is
British
no
Open. It's canceled.
Yeah,
It's canceled.
right.
Okay. What about the U.S.?
U.S. is go ahead.
Wingfoot,
Yeah, still at Wingfoot. They
I
have
mean, but when?
September.
Okay.
the only major missing now is going to be the British Open. So the PGA comes the week after the WGC Memphis. Then you've got in September the U.S. Open, and then you'll have, is it October or November? That is Augusta.
November.
November 11th.
And the Ryder
That'll be
Cup's somewhere in there.
Well, that'll be the first of the two Masters that Tiger wins in 6 months.
There you go. The Ryder Cup's in October. That's in October, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to have a great deal of just fabulous events all the way through. And honestly, so we did have a little controversy. Not controversy. We had our first uh-oh. And that was a player who was tested positive for COVID. Fortunately, he had traveled by himself. He did not get on the airplane. And they tested everybody that he had played with. Everybody passed, and he's in quarantine. And so their protocols and their success thus far has been exemplary. The PGA Tour has done absolutely everything right so far. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. They usually do. That's a pretty good group, and taking care of their players is a big thing for them. They the way they take care of their families wherever they go, and they have all the arrangements made for everybody. It's a good deal. I'm glad. I hope nobody else gets it.
Almost 1,000 tests administered by the PGA to players, to their employees, to tournament officials, and we had a little bit of a freak out, Ted, over one positive.
Yeah. Well, you think, where had he been for the last 2 weeks? How many people had been around? I had a couple of my students that have actually been golf, teaching, that have been around people, and they all tested negative. But you have to wonder, where is this going? Is it how close is it? It's just a big mystery. You're kind of scared of everybody.
Well, the thing that we've been harping on a great deal, our fatalities are really, they're going down actually, and part of that is the age group that is getting most of these cases now are younger people, and younger people are not. We see now younger people just are not going to die from this. Now that doesn't mean they can't spread it to older people. So
Right.
those numbers could go up later, but at the moment they are not, and that is a positive. And I just think that, as you said, the PGA Tour is really well organized. I don't think their protocol was quite the 113 pages that they have in Orlando for the NBA, but it was specific enough, and their partners, and I'm talking about media partners, and we've had a couple of people on that cover this. Doug Bell for the Sirius XM. We've had Rex Haddock from the Golf Channel that was with us, and all of those folks have had their testing done, I think, on their own, or the media outlet is paying for it.
Well, it's a good thing. You just out of putt before I left. There's the place is really packed. You've got people hitting balls everywhere, and they're trying to keep the 6 feet between each hitting area, and it's a bit of a struggle. We've got a crew out there that's trying to manage the whole situation, and it's people are so excited to get back and hit golf balls again, and they love the tracers and seeing where they're going. It was like a big party out there today.
Well, Ted, it does feel like a golf renaissance, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, that was exciting yesterday. People were talking about it, and usually you don't hear a lot of conversation about Harbor Town from the people that I work with and hang around. But they're talking about down the stretch and the way people are making birdies everywhere and not backing off. It was fun.
Well, part of the reason you don't talk about Harbor Town, it's like the old restaurant thing: location, location, location.
Yeah.
I mean, the location on the schedule
Timing.
for Harbor Town is not really good.
Yeah.
Being after
Takes a
Augusta.
lot of air out of the room.
It does. But here, I think that's a perfect word, Brett. Renaissance. I found this earlier on, and I think we were talking to John Gowen about this when he was. And several people have backed this up. Golf is up over 30%.
Everybody's packed.
Part of that was because, frankly, that was the only thing you could do. You couldn't go to a movie. You couldn't go to theater. You couldn't go to restaurants. The only thing you had to look forward to if you were a golfer was golf. So that was the one thing we all sort of, pivoted to. I'm curious, Ted, are you up with lessons in that same regard?
Yeah. Right now, I'm booked about 3 weeks in advance, and that almost never happens this quick. I mean, it's just I've got so many phone calls right now. I don't know where to put them. And new voices, new names, new golfers. It's
I've sent you somebody new, by the way, just so you know.
Okay. Do I want to know who it is?
It's a good athlete, a young sophomore in high school.
Okay.
I don't think he's played golf much, though. But you'll take care of him, I know that.
I'll take care of that, though. The easiest ones to teach are the ones who haven't done it yet. The hard ones are 20 years of bad swings trying to fix them.
I asked you not to speak about our relationship.
Well, at least you repeat it.
Yes, I'm able to repeat it. There's no doubt. All right,
Ted, what's the easiest thing in a bad swing to fix?
The easiest thing in a bad swing.
Grip?
No, the grip is hard because people don't like the way it feels. I'll work on somebody's grip and
It
move
feels
over
funny.
and into the right, and it feels funny. They'll hit two bad shots in a row, and they kind of ease back over. I guess posture, because posture is a really common bad move for golfers. They're lazy and don't know how to stand, but when you put them on the camera and the mirrors and you get the back straight and the 30-degree spine angle or somewhere around that, let the arms hang down. That's not too hard to fix. But the grip's one of the harder things because it doesn't feel good, and your hands are the only thing that touch the club.
So we head now to Connecticut, the Travers. I think it's still that, and Travelers, I should say, and it is a golf course that Bubba Watson has owned a couple of times. I think he'll be in the field. Maybe he'll make a move. He played decently. Jordan Spieth has played well there, and this is another one of those golf courses. I don't think it's overwhelming with length, more precision, right?
Right. And it's who's weak, who's going to make the putts. I mean, they all hit the ball great now. I mean, there's just no bad players out there, and they're not getting scared. They all believe in themselves, and they worked hard. And in this long layoff, they're all hungry. They like to get back in the competition again. Playing golf with your friends is fun, but it's the heat of the battle they like.
All right, this is a question from out of nowhere, but I was going to bring it up. Michelle Wee had a baby, her first child with Johnny West, who, of course, grew up part of his time in Memphis. That's Jerry West's son. He went to Lausanne High School. He went at the same time as Marc Gasol. So he and Michelle got married. They've had their first child. Will Michelle Wee ever win again on the LPGA Tour?
That's a good question. I guess, is she going to play?
I don't know.
Maybe she just want to be a mom.
Remember when we thought she would win on the PGA Tour?
Well, she's had so far the best round of any woman who's tried that. So, who's really tried that? Annika Sorenstam, her. I think there's one other. Probably we could go back to Babe Zaharias, but she does have the best round against men in competition.
Well, it's hard for me to imagine the way that she putts the ball now, in that super bent-over crowd position that she can play much golf at all. I don't know how you even stand like that, no less practice like that.
It is the oddest putting thing.
I mean, there's some logic in being, right up on top of it and like that, but how can your body put up with that? Because you got to be practicing it hours at a time. That's why a lot of golfers don't practice putting, because when you're bent over that long, it hurts their back.
Well,
the thing she's doing is yikes.
I couldn't think of his name the other day, but who he doesn't use it anymore, but he had that little tiny putter for that very same thing. It didn't look as awkward as Michelle.
Robert Garrigus.
Robert Garrigus, who blew the FESJC at that time by not using a 3-wood off the doggone 18 tee box.
He stayed south of the water a long time.
I've seen a lot of people use short putters, but not for very long. The idea is getting down like you're getting like in pool. You know, you get down close to the ball, you can see the line better. But it's too hard on your body.
All right, what's your prediction for Harbortown?
Yeah, let's see. I think I'm going to go
low
with
scores
again. I'm going to go with Shoffley again.
Xander again. Okay.
He had a good round yesterday. But they all did.
Ted, I have informed everybody on the air that you are, while I am gone, you will be my golf picker.
Mm-hmm.
Designated picker.
I am assuming you'll do just a little bit more work than pick Xander Shoffley every week.
Well, yeah, probably so. It depends what these guys are going to hand me under the table.
Everybody's against me. It's amazing.
Yeah, everybody's after you, aren't they?
It will be a good offer, Ted, I can assure you.
I pick you to defend against this. And here you are proclaiming
They're coming at you from everywhere.
You can
Dave.
be bought. Oh, my goodness.
But the coup plotters, man, you better chop the king's head off when you have this kind of coup.
Man, you guys are too
I
much.
love it.
Thanks,
Ted.
Thank you. We'll talk to you. Or they will on Monday. Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you later.
That is Ted Butler from Summer Golf and Games. And we do take a quick timeout. I am looking forward to wrapping up this first hour on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wello and Stats.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. How old is your water heater? With most of the water heaters in the Mid-South located in the attic, the worst day you can replace your water heater is one day too late. It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. Plus, these energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. Most 10-year-old water heaters were about 65% efficient when they were new, compared to a tankless water heater from Conway Services is up to 98% efficient. Plus, right now, get your tankless water heater from Conway Services for as low as $79 per month. Or I'll give you $300 for that old tank water heater. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. And with over 8,000 5-star reviews, you know Google guaranteed Conway Services will be providing that award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the Build Your Own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
This is Dave Wolf, President and General Manager at Southland Casino. I want everyone to know that Southland is ready to welcome you back. We have a new program in place to help us all stay safe. So if you're ready to play, the most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is open for you. Blackjack is live, the slots are rolling, and our clean team is on the job. So make this short trip to Southland Casino. Together we'll play it safe.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wilson and Brett Norsworthy.
There's a good story today that I think could portend well for Memphis, maybe. And that is that the potential number one draft pick for not this year, but the following basketball season, Cade Cunningham said, you know what? I committed to Oklahoma State, and even though we can't go postseason, I'm going to honor my commitment to Oklahoma State. Because we have no idea what this committee will do with Memphis because they play James Wiseman those 3 games, what they come up with. You know, it could be anything from maybe Penny getting suspended for a few games to Memphis not being allowed to play in postseason. I have no idea where they will go with all of this, but you have some people out there that are or at least one guy. There's 2, kid from Florida, I have a feeling is going to end up in Gonzaga. Most people are saying that is the place he'll go. But Moussa Cisse is still very much a possibility to go to the University of Memphis, and maybe he would have the same sort of feeling Cade Cunningham has gotten about Oklahoma State.
First glimmer of good news at Oklahoma State in a while.
Boy, you're not kidding. Because it sure hasn't been a good couple of weeks for Mike Gundy. Starting with the OAN shirt and then the accusations by players that he used racist terms. When
former competitors.
He was a player. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was playing Colorado, and a guy who played in the NFL for a number of years and was a player there. And apparently Colorado had their way with Oklahoma State that day, and that he alleges that Mike Gundy lost his head and used a racist
That was a brief, shining moment of Colorado being at the top of college football. Split a national championship, had the controversial 5 downs, had Saul and Nessie that the team and the school and the fans of college football rallied around. They were so very good. Drew, you'll remember the year at the Super Bowl when the crew behind me from Denver, and because of different time zones, Dave, they weren't live during this time, so it was kind of freewheeling and a little loud and very fun. And Drew, remember I had trouble keeping the mic off because some really bad words kept coming through from them buddying up behind me. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember the colorful language.
Okay, one of the hosts is one of the players making the accusation at Mike Gundy.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I turned around during one of the breaks. I went, guys, look, man, I'm all about having fun, but could we turn down those big words just a little bit? There's a lot of hot mics around.
What was their response?
Blank you.
Yeah. Huh. Well, as we said, it was not a good look, and the accuser said he can say whatever he wants to. I have 20 witnesses that heard different. So.
Yeah, Mike Gundy has now said he's got 20 said that didn't. So
yeah.
A 30-year-old accusation that 20 saying yes and 20 saying no.
Right.
His locker room will decide his fate.
I agree. I think that is accurate, and I think he was
not his bosses,
pretty darn
not his board of trustees, not his AD. His locker room will decide his fate, and they'll decide it by August 1.
He tried to go into damage control as quickly as he could. That the video that he did with Chuba Hubbard was not the most convincing thing I've ever seen, and then he put out another one separately to try to make it better. I'm not sure that he did.
Now, Dave, we got a text at 67129 at the First Bank text line. It says there are infants and young people that are dying from it. Yes, there have been, but statistically it is closer to 0 than it is to 0.001%. Under 1 year of age through the 20th of June, as the latest CDC is my reference, 8 in the country. 1 to 4 years of age, 5 in the country. 5 to 14 years of age, 13 in the country.
Right.
15 to 24 years of age in the country, 125.
Well, that's more than I thought. I thought there was a total of like 19 under the age of 15. That was it.
I'm at CDC, and
so it is incredibly fractional. Now, look, that doesn't mean that that's not horrible. Any loss.
it doesn't mean it's not horrible. It doesn't mean it's not zero. But what other kind of safeguards do we take when you're talking 5 people, 1 to 4 years of age, in a country of 330 million? At some point, the law of large numbers you have to go with, don't you?
At some point you do, absolutely. The only aspect, and we did not bring this up earlier, the one aspect about young people is the odds of them dying, as we have just pointed out, and you've just given those CDC numbers, are very, very small, minute, that they would be rendered to a fatal illness from that. But that doesn't mean they can't give it to grandparents and parents and older people that they're acquainted with, or teachers for that matter, and spread it that way, especially if they're in pre-symptomatic times.
But even if they have, what are we at, a 5% fatality rate nationwide?
I believe that's the correct number, yeah. And that is 1 hour.
I'll take 95 every time.
David Cobb will join us here in a minute. David Cobb from CBSSports.com. We will talk some college athletics with him. We'll find out what he's hearing when we come back next.
Hey everybody, are we ready for some hot fun this summertime? Cause I'm out here in Olive Branch looking at all these new All-Star Chevy trucks. You've got more new Silverados out here than you'll find anywhere, and for a lot less. Some still have 0 interest for 84 months with GM financing, or thousands in cash back for summer. If it's a new Chevy you want, Olive Branch is where you want to be. Come drive one of the new Blazers or Suburbans, or just drive both. You can fall in love with more than one. Finance with GM and you could be payment free all summer. And everybody at All-Star Chevy is excited about their pre-owned Chevy collection. It's huge. I'm looking at Tahoes, Malibus, Impalas, Suburbans. They have everything the new ones have, warranties and all, just thousands less. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Mount Moriah or Collierville. It's gotta be Olive Branch, people. And everyone at All-Star Chevy has one job: to make sure you get the best deal, have more fun, and in record time. So find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We have all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, there are aerial pictures that are taken every 4 years that can be used to measure a building, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof, or even if you need one, by using pictures that might be 4 years old. If you would rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, please give me a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best customer service we know how to provide. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Central Barbecue is committed to the health and safety of this community, who has supported Central for almost 20 years. Central Barbecue is still open for business with to-go and delivery options to serve the greater Memphis area with the same great barbecue you have come to know and love. With 4 locations to serve you, from downtown, midtown, and East Memphis, you can order your favorite barbecue and enjoy everything on the menu in the comfort of your own home. Call your nearest Central Barbecue location for more information on delivery and to-go options today.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome into the Family Leisure Studios, hour number 2 on this Monday. It's Mask Monday, you could say, as the mayors made a point today to say, in order to avoid going back to phase one, start considering being a little more diligent with distancing and with the use of masks, and the masks are going to become mandatory, as you all know by now. We are in the Family Leisure Studios, and they are also abiding by keeping you safe. They've got this thing where if you were to do this thing, contactless purchasing, you can make an appointment, you schedule it through just phoning them, and when you come outside, somebody will come and meet you at the door, bring you in when there are no crowds in the place, and you'll have your chance to look around, and you'll see some great things. You'll see complete pool packages starting at $1,600, 24-foot pools under $2,000. The four-person spas starting at that same price, $19.99. The big swim spas start at just under $10,000. High-quality swing sets for the youngsters, they've been discounted from $34.99 down to $21.99. They do make it easy. They'll even give you a catalog. If you don't want to go in, just look, and then they'll bring it curbside to you, or they'll deliver it to your home. However you would like it to be done, they're going to make your backyard a staycation place at Family Leisure. Interesting story today, and we bring in our friend David Cobb from CBSSports.com. I hope you had a great Father's Day. This story is on your website. Liberty University football players, defensive backs Tavion Land and Catrell Clark announced they would be entering the transfer portal because of racial insensitivity displayed by leadership and the cultural incompetent within multiple levels of leadership. Land is a 3-star prospect from the class of 19 that was ranked, I guess, the highest they've ever had to sign with the Liberty program. So Hugh Freeze was able to get him. I don't think, David, they are actually directing this at football or athletics. I think it is higher up in the Liberty University administration or their leadership that they were upset with. But they've just lost 2 key guys, and it comes down to they think that there was racial insensitivity. Good afternoon.
Hey, guys. I'm a little bummed about that because I had Liberty projected as my team that was going to surprise people in the 2020 season. They've got some ACC opponents on their schedule, and they're coming off of a bowl game, their first as a program.
A win.
Yeah, and Hugh Freeze kind of, has them going in the right direction, or so it seemed. So I had them down as beating North Carolina State this season. But obviously losing, the most heralded prospect in their program's history doesn't help that. So I'm curious to see what, if any, reaction Hugh Freeze has to it, because I think what you're saying, Dave, is probably right. In that message, he didn't make any mention of specific instances within the football program. He didn't name anyone on the football staff. So he's probably talking about the university more as a whole there. And
yeah, it's all
I wonder if Hugh Freeze, I'm sure he's frustrated by it, and I wonder if he'll how he'll handle that, I guess, because as a coach, it's got to be maddening when something outside of your control causes one of your best players to transfer, and that appears to be what's going on here. And for that matter, similar story at Mississippi State, where Kylan Hill, one of the best running backs in the SEC, now says today, it's a little vague, I guess, what he means when he says he won't represent the state. Does that mean he's not going to play? I don't know. But because of the state flag there, even though Mississippi State's university leaders are clear that they want the flag change, he's coming out and saying that he won't represent the state. So again, that's something that's outside of Mike Leach's control. That's potentially going to cost him one of his best players.
Right.
I can only imagine, for these football coaches, man, they are control freaks. So I can only imagine what the reaction is internally for them. And now I'm just curious to see if there's any external reaction to it from those guys.
Dave, you're right about Kylan Hill. He may be the best returning running back in the league. I think he has been horribly misused, and I was shocked by it because I thought Joe Moorhead would really use him very much like the good running back that from Penn State that's now with the New York Giants. He didn't, and often would forget about him. There were times last year at the Egg Bowl when he wasn't getting the ball, and I'm sitting there. Thank you. Don't give it to number 8. I mean, do that all you want. And you're right about the Mississippi State administration. I know at Ole Miss, the state of Mississippi flag has not flown over the campus at Ole Miss since 2015. I think Mississippi State's right in there, and that's pretty much that same time frame. Their administration, led by Mark Keenum, a fantastic guy, he has denounced it every way you can, as most have done that. But by saying he won't represent, either he will play or he won't play. If he doesn't play, that is a harsh stance that I don't think he'll be alone with, David. But not representing the state of Mississippi, what does that mean? He takes the logo off the helmet? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I think there's a way. I think there's a caveat in there for now. We're talking about Mike Leach, so who knows? He's not the coach that I would pick to handle this situation, but if the university leadership, John Cohen and those guys can sit down with Kylan Hill and say, look, hey man, we want the flag change too. Mississippi State as a university wants the flag change. Help us represent the change we want to see. I don't know, maybe there can be a conversation there that makes him feel better about playing for State. Because if he's trying to put pressure on the state legislature, my next question is, how many of the state representatives in the state of Mississippi are Ole Miss fans? Because if they see, we keep the flag like this, Kylan Hill won't play. Maybe that gives them a little more incentive to drag their feet on it. I don't know.
Because the same thing will come to Oxford with a player that will almost take the same stand, and at Southern Mississippi and at other colleges and universities across the state. Most of the legislature, most of the Mississippi House of Representatives and the Mississippi State Senate, they've been clear. This ham-handed take it to a vote of the people. Well, the people don't vote on everything. The governor needs to act, and he needed to have acted by about 9 o'clock this morning.
Well, you're right.
That's sort of ambiguous statement that he put out this morning.
Ad Conference USA, because now they've joined, because they are the conference
Southern
that
Mississippi.
has Southern Miss. They have joined in basically saying they will not take any championship events to the state of Mississippi until the flag is changed. And Tate Reeves basically has said he thinks it should go to a vote of the people. If that went to a vote of the people in this day and age, and I know this is not our jobs as prognostication of political voting, although that was something that you had in another lifetime once did, Brett, but do you think the majority of the state in a vote would say change the flag?
I want to know what you think, Seth. Yeah.
I do, David. I think they would, because just so tired of being badgered with it, and it's no heritage to it. It was 4 or 5 years, over 160 years ago. Why take this much battering over symbolism that is wrong and ill-timed at minimum? Yes, I think they would, and this take it to the vote of the people. Well, let's take the speed limit to the vote of the people. Let's take the legal drinking age to the vote of the people. You got elected by the people to make the tough calls. Make them.
Well, and let's not forget, it was 19 years ago that they did indeed vote on this, and they voted to keep it.
They did, but 19 years ago is almost
different.
A turnover of a generation.
Yeah, I think.
I mean that
40-year-old
voter.
25 years.
That 40-year-old voter now was 20, and while not a child, not a kid, certainly legally an adult, but maybe a full understanding and maturity of things that you don't look at through the prism of a 40-year-old that you did at 20. Well, and then take that person that hadn't been born yet, that now would be of legal voting age. They're sick to death of being badgered with this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it would be different if they put it to a vote of the people, but I'm also with you, Stats. I don't know why the elected officials can't move forward with something here. And you would have thought that the NCAA, the SEC, Conference USA, putting this increased pressure on the state of Mississippi would lead to more swift action, because especially with baseball, which, I mean, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I think is the second most important college sport in that state, even maybe above basketball. They're not going to be able to host. They're not going to be able to host regionals under the stances that the NCAA has taken. And with Conference USA today, I know a lot of people sort of rolled their eyes because they were almost a full week behind the SEC and the NCAA. But, I mean, before coronavirus, the Conference USA baseball tournament was supposed to be in Biloxi this year. And so, huge advantage for Southern Miss to essentially be at home for the conference baseball tournament. And now they won't have that either. And so, I mean, I don't know, but I would imagine the breakdown of college graduates from the legislature, I would imagine, at least 50% of them came through Southern Miss, Ole Miss, or Mississippi State, or something close to that. So I would have thought, and maybe it has, and it just hasn't really been detected yet, but you would really think that with the sports being as important as they are in this area of the country, and baseball being as important as it is in Mississippi specifically, that might have prompted them to kind of advance this thing with a little more expediency. But I just
First of all, let's collectively in Mississippi and people that are interested in any of those places. And David, you got a great point about Southern Miss and the baseball. Southern Miss's baseball program does not lag that far behind State and Ole Miss's, and from a budgetary point of view, it does. They play great baseball. But let's do this for the right reason. But the next reason, don't imperil at Mississippi State and at Ole Miss. Don't give Greg Sankey and the powers that be any reason to imperil membership in the SEC.
For me, I think your assessment is correct. That I think baseball is the second leading sport behind football at all three of the schools that we've mentioned: Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Southern Miss. I think if there's a conflict with John Cox at Southern Miss between baseball and basketball, he's going to baseball if he can. And that is a sport that they excel in. But the thing that just continues to boggle my mind is that we as a society right now are watching athletics try to change the culture everywhere. That to me, and it's great that now CUSA has made a stand, and that Sankey was the first person to be brave enough to really try to tell the government of the state of Mississippi what should be on their
flag. And
he
has a daughter in school at Mississippi State.
That to me, that a government has to be told by athletic entities on how to do good business is pretty astonishing. But where is the economic part of this? I mean, if you really want change, if Tate Reeves has to be swayed, somebody with the economic clout could make that happen quicker.
Yeah, I mean, you think about all the major national and international auto manufacturers that sort of have huge plants in the Golden Triangle. And I know Mississippi's done a really good job of attracting businesses in that region. I mean, there's something that could be used against them, I don't know, but you're right, Wolo. I mean, from the athletic standpoint, you would think I would think that would be as effective as a tool of any in terms of leveraging, to sort of get something done. But that maybe it does need to be, something from more of an economic standpoint.
And David, you could even have opposing teams now step up and say, now I can't ever remember Ole Miss brandishing in my time at Ole Miss. I can't ever remember the flag of the state of Mississippi being brandished, or when you run out on the field, it being carried. I remember the American flag many times, and the old Stars and Bars long since gone. But you could have opposing teams say, don't show until you change. Don't come here as a visiting opponent until you change.
What would the outcome of that game be? I mean, would it be a forfeit for the team that refused to play? I mean, because if that's the case, I don't know.
Well, long before we turned these screws that tight, I wish the governor would have done it by 9 o'clock this morning, and hopefully by 9 tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I was talking with Eli and Greg about it a few days ago, and it's just surprising, I guess, that their unwillingness to budge, even after everything that we've gone through as a country over the last, month or so. And it's like, what else do you need to see, or what else needs to happen, for this change to finally come? And I shudder to think kind of what the answer to that might be.
Yeah,
I said, like I said earlier, there's no heritage. There's not an iota of heritage in there for me. It was 5 years of an annihilation in the war against Ulysses Grant as the general of the Potomac Army, and now you see his statues coming down inexplicably some places. My goodness, and later to be a pretty good president post Civil War years. It was 1860 to 1865. That does not represent me at all. I don't care anything about it.
Yeah, and I like I said the other day, I've traced my own lineage on one side of the family, at least, through Mississippi, and I'm interested in that, and I appreciate the history of it, and I want to know where they lived and if they served and what regiment they were in. All that stuff is interesting to me, but that doesn't mean that for a second, that I pledge any allegiance or loyalty to anything that they may have fought for. In fact,
I would say you made a bad choice, and I have it too, David.
Yeah, right. Like you couldn't have packed up.
Let's take on the United States of America. Really dumb.
I know. So yeah, unfortunately, I got my mom's side from the north. So, but yeah, I just don't understand. I don't understand why the need to cling to it. I mean, don't want to erase history. Like if you go and try and turn Shiloh National Military Park into a water park, then we got a problem. But and the flag will still exist in some context, but hopefully that'll just be a museum or a history book.
And David, I've hiked Shiloh 5 times as a Boy Scout, and it didn't work out well for Albert Sidney Johnson there.
No, that was one of the worst days in American history when you think about the bloodshed of it all. But why are we still fighting that battle today? I don't know. That's just
that battle needs to come to an end, and I think
we're going to have college football, David?
We are all in agreement with that.
Yeah.
David, we're going to have college football on time, finish on time, have the bowl games just like we're used to.
It's funny. It seems about every other week we talk about this, and every other week my opinion changes. I was reading something today where it was talking about kind of sports personalities, and the ones that we gravitate towards more are the hedgehogs who make the bold, simple, straightforward, and bold predictions, but more often than not, they're wrong. So the ones who have nuance in their opinions may not get the headlines or the publicity, but more often than not, they turn out to be right. I don't know. I guess right now I'm trending more towards no, but I'm not going to come out authoritatively and say, no, absolutely not, here's why. I could give you, 3 points for why not, but I just kind of feels like with the numbers that we're seeing, it's not. We got, a lot of prominent college football programs who are at or near double-digit cases within their program. So, to me, you put those guys in quarantine or whatever, but, you're not going to be able to stop the other guys from going out and getting it or whatever. And I just feel like by the time August 31 rolls around and we're on the eve of the season, it's still going to be going around. It's still going to be being passed through the locker rooms, and especially if you put the rest of the students back on campus. I would love to be wrong. I would nothing more than to be wrong, and for college football to be played, and for us to never have to talk about this again or worry about it. But as we sit here today, late June, I'm at the moment feeling a little bit pessimistic, just because over these last couple of weeks, since guys have started getting back together on campus and working out, it's been a steady stream of news coming out of these programs that says, like, we're having to take some pretty serious measures here because a lot of our players have it, or we think they probably have it.
Of the news that has come out, most of it has been negative, and that's just because as they've gotten together, and this is after they've reported some of these, like the case in Texas, is this is not brought in unless they were all asymptomatic, and then it was picked up by somebody. But it appears to be that it came from their own cluster after they had arrived there. So that is obviously not good news. I think in answer to your question, Brett, and you've heard me say that, I don't think we really know. I think the answer would be we really want to do it.
Well, I know we don't know. I asked his opinion.
Want to play, but it is.
I really wanted the NCAA basketball tournament, but do you think it?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not the first person to make this point, but, okay, so you think about the age group we're talking about, because I know a lot of people out there are listening and thinking the chances of somebody in this age range, especially with as healthy as most of these college athletes are, actually experiencing severe or life-threatening symptoms is pretty slim. However,
close to that.
I mean, all it takes is one, in all
one
likelihood,
hospitalization.
Let's be real. Yeah, or one, heaven forbid, like one death. Then all of a sudden, wow, I think that you will see a rapid shutdown of any sort of athletic activity on campuses, even
that shuts down school.
A voluntary workouts, So, and I mean, with the numbers of players and students that we're talking about, I mean, that's certainly within the realm of possibility that there could be a death. I don't think that's far.
A death shuts down. A death shuts down school, and then we enter into the ice age for a lot of places.
Right, and I'm not saying that maybe there wouldn't be some overreaction in that 99.9% of 18 to 23-year-old guys can get through this no problem. I believe that, but I mean, just the environment, the climate that we live in, the precautions that are necessary, and just the peace of mind for the parents, and think about the optics of it. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. The optics of it with the NCAA still being kind of slow to implement name, image, and likeness legislation. The optics of, as Mike Gundy said, getting unpaid, well, as some people took Mike Gundy's words, getting unpaid labor back to it to help states' economies and stuff like that in the midst of a pandemic, especially if there's been somebody who's, passed away or been, hospitalized for any length. The optics are just terrible on that. And they're just I think they're hard to sell. So again, I'd love, I love nothing more than college football. I was talking with you earlier, Stats. Whenever I'll probably have to do it when I get off this call. I'll probably have to go, bury my nose in the Lindy's college football preview magazine just to sort of get my spirits back up. But I just look at this and I just don't feel so great about it right now.
Bottom line is, if there were, God forbid, a death of an athlete that was directly attributed to COVID, especially if they did not have any sort of underlying condition, it would end all comebacks until we had a treatment. I would be afraid. That is probably the response that we'd have to have. And
and put yourself in the position of parents and their parents sending their children off for school. And I've often thought, what if all of this had happened in March of 1981 when I was a senior in high school? And yeah, it was that long ago, David. And no graduation, no fanfare around that for me. No summer no May, June, and most of July in Washington. Then come home and work some before I leave for college. No fall semester. I mean, you think what these youngsters could be going through, and then you flip it. What if it were you heading into your senior year and you're getting ready to graduate and go into the workforce and try to start knocking out these loans?
Yeah, it's brutal for high school and college graduates right now. I mean, I think like all the breaks that it took for me to have opportunities in a competitive field right out of college, and now you compile one over the last 6 years since I've graduated. The continued downturn of the journalism industry, along with a pandemic. It wouldn't matter if you were the next Wright Thompson. I mean, it would be really hard.
Grantland Rice couldn't make it.
Yeah, I know. And I'm kind of sick for those students, college and the high school graduates, it does make me sad, because they've been robbed of so much.
They're victims.
I'm not talking about the graduation ceremonies. I could have cared less about the actual graduation ceremony, but the stage in life, I mean, it's irreplaceable. The experiences and the maturity of going off to college and then graduating college, being on your own. I mean, the amount that you grow up in those moments are, I mean, it's just unparalleled to any other time in life, probably with the exception of, maybe marriage or becoming a parent or whatever. But, and so they're not getting that. And the athletes, too, if you've busted your butt for your whole life to get an athletic scholarship and now, that's all at risk or in jeopardy, that could be the next conversation is we've already had it a little bit with spring sport athletes, but if fall sports don't go on, what of the eligibility? And then what of the scholarships? And if the NCAA allows them, to up the scholarship limit, how are these universities that are increasingly cash-strapped, going to be able to handle that, especially at some of those smaller schools?
Or think of it, too, as, just weird circumstances. A guy who my heart goes out to now is Brady White. Brady White, he might be 28 when his college career comes to an end if we don't have football this year.
He gets another year, he's going to have to go for a second doctorate. I don't know what there is past doctorate. He's going to have more degrees than any other college athlete in the history of the NCAA.
He might be a pandemic expert when he gets done.
We might have to say, Dr. White goes back. He looks.
He's going to be teaching the classes. He's going to be teaching the classes that his freshman teammates are in if he gets another year. I mean, no joke.
I actually had a class one time from a girl that was a year younger than me.
Wow,
which tells you a couple things there.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, I did.
All right, David, have a good, safe week, and we'll
Thank you,
talk
David.
to you again next Monday.
All right, guys.
That is our man from CBS. That is David Cobb. Our title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, and Genesis of Olive Branch. Same building, same great staff. They've been together for years. I'm not kidding. I don't believe, with the exception of one general manager moving on and Chris True coming in and picking up the ball, I'm not sure that anybody has left on staff. They do that kind of good job, and they're successful. They don't want to go, and they've got this great organization and great product. Let's face it. These Hyundais, these Genesis cars, they're just incredibly well-built, scientific, technology-driven pieces of machinery that are just amazing. The speed and the performance and the safety and the durability. Look, every new Hyundai, every new Genesis car at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. And then they're always up in the game one way or another. Right now, 0% financing for 84 months and 120 days on some select models before you have to make your first payment. Look, they know you've been unemployed. Now you're back to work. You might not have the cash right now. Have the car. Don't worry about it for 4 months. In 120 days, make your first payment. Again, on select Hyundais or Genesis cars. Now's the time. Get on Lamar into Mississippi. Exit number 1 is Craft Road. Turn left, and you'll be there. The place that I think is the standard for car business. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. When we come back to Philadelphia, we go. Dick Girardi from Bet.com is going to recap what was a very good stretch run by the favorite. We'll talk 'Tis the Law with Dick Girardi next.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddick Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day, group play, and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
Hi, it's The Herd. The last few months have taught us what's important in life. It's also taught us what we need to eliminate or change. Same goes for all businesses all across America. If you're a business leader, you already know and thought about changes you need to make. And now's the time to make them. Do you have a hairball of multiple software systems when you could and should streamline with just one? The only system you need now, NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. Because with NetSuite, you get a full picture of your business, from finance to HR to inventory to e-commerce and more. You'll finally have everything you need, and it's all in real time, right from your phone or desktop. No more guessing, no more waiting. You'll save time, money, and headaches by having one source of truth to help you navigate the reopening of the economy. NetSuite is offering a free guide, 7 actions businesses need to take now at netsuite.com/hurt. Whether you're doing $1 million or hundreds of millions in sales, NetSuite gives you visibility and control so you can manage every penny with precision. Like the folks at Bedford Industries. Bedford Industries normally make twist ties, but in response to COVID-19, they produced over 100,000 plastic face shields in less than a week. They partnered with NetSuite to build their first e-commerce platform to make the face shields available to everybody. Join the over 20,000 companies who trust NetSuite to go faster with confidence. NetSuite surveyed hundreds of business leaders and assembled a playbook of the top strategies they're using as America reopens for business and are offering it to you for free. Receive your free guide, 7 actions businesses need to take now, and schedule your free product tour at netsuite.com/hurt. This is your rebound playbook as the economy is opening back up. Go right now. Get your free guide, 7 actions businesses need to take now, and schedule your free product tour at netsuite.com/herd. That's netsuite.com/HERD.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Some news breaking, not unexpected. Dak Prescott, Cowboys 50-year quarterback, tagged all the way back in March, but held off signing. Did officially sign his franchise tender, $31.4 million. They have till July 15th to try to sort out an extension. That's not too bad, I guess. $31.5 million.
That's a nice little bridge contract to the big long extension that he has earned, and I think coming soon to a Mississippi State home football game will be the retirement of number 15, just like announced today that number 10 at Ole Miss will be retired third weekend of the year, if we have a year, against Auburn for Ole Miss, retiring Eli Manning's number 10. And I know, stay tuned, could be more announcement on retired numbers at Ole Miss, and I think that would include number 49, Patrick Willis, at some point. Hope so.
I did see that news. That, what is September 19th? I hope
September 19th. That's the home game against Auburn.
Yeah.
Bunch of ifs here. If we have a season, if Ole Miss had an upset week 1 against Baylor in Houston, and if defeated SEMO week 2 like everyone would expect, Auburn beat North Carolina week 2, that could be the CBS 2:30 game, with the primetime game being Georgia and Alabama that night. So Auburn, Ole Miss in the afternoon, Georgia and the Tide and the Dogs that night in Tuscaloosa.
What a night if we start on time and we start, you know.
Those
two things.
It's very fluid, Dave.
Those things have to happen, that is for sure. I'll tell you what did happen. On Saturday, we got the Belmont. Usually the longest, 1.5 miles. This was 1.1 miles. And, you know, most of the time, if you look at the last 15 years, favorites don't win. 'Tis the law. Changed that on Saturday. We We'll get to that here momentarily. It was, we're going to get that, or should I move on here? It was a race where the second in control, we'll come back to that in just a little bit. In the meantime, let me bring in a guy who had the leader of the race, picked him as the winner, and he was for most of the race, but down the stretch, the favorite, Tiz the Law, just put it to, tap it to win. And Dick, are we seeing a great horse in Tiz the Law? What's your assessment after you've watched from Belmont on Saturday?
It was really impressive, and if they'd only paid out at the top of the stretch, I would have cashed on Tap It to Win. Unfortunately, they don't let that happen. Yeah, I thought that was Tiz the Law's best race yet. He's 5 for 6. I think we talked about this last week. He should be 6 for 6. The race he lost, he was extremely unlucky. The fact that he was able to cruise up the Tap It to Win at the top of the stretch, and the jockey's looking behind him, that's kind of telling you what he's got. And the horse just ran away from the field, won by almost 4 lengths. Extremely impressive on Saturday.
Dick, I know the race may have been strategically ran differently for the winning horse, but if it had been the traditional Belmont long track, he really would have gotten out there with a lead. But it probably would have been strategically different if it had been that case.
I think he'd have won by more, honestly, given what I saw on Saturday. There wasn't anybody gaining on him at the end, and he just the way the horse finished. But yeah, look, we talked about it. It's just different this year. I think they made a good decision to run it shorter distance because none of the horses had much time to prepare for a mile and a half because you only knew a month before the race that they were even going to have horse racing in New York.
Dick Girardi, our guest with us. He's from betonline.ag, longtime columnist at the Philadelphia Inquirer, on Twitter at Dick Girardi, Jerardi. He was with us on Friday, broke the race down. And Dick, on Friday, we were the whole racing world clear on this was going to be the asterisk year no matter what. Well, we said only one horse can win the Triple Crown. It'll be a slew of asterisks, though, won't it?
It will be. I'll say this. If this horse can get through, and keep in mind now, he's going to run before the Derby, which is in September. He'll run the Travers Stakes on August the 8th. He's not going to wait 11 weeks, Barclay Tag and Tiz the Law. They'll run one time and then come back in the Derby on September 5th. But if he can get through all of this, and remember that instead of 5 weeks, it's now 15 weeks. The Preakness is until October. Yeah, there may be an asterisk because it's different, but it would still be some amazing feat. And this year, unlike usual, it'd be 4 races because he's going to have to run a 4th time in between the Derby and the Belmont.
The other aspect is I believe that a couple of horses that would have raced in May that were injured may be coming or sick, may be coming back for the Derby. So he could face more competition as the races break down, correct?
There is no question the Derby will be a much harder race to win, and you cited one of the reasons. Some of the horses that may have been in the race just weren't ready for either injuries or development or something else. And there were a couple of horses that could have run in it, including Honor AP, who won the recent Santa Anita Derby. He would have been in it normally, but he'd be one of the favorites in the Kentucky Derby. They're waiting. They'll run him sometime in the summer, then bring him back at Churchill. So, yes, the field in Kentucky, for a variety of reasons, will be much stronger than the field Tiz the Law faced on Saturday.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of horses. Dick, you could almost make a case doing it in this order might be more difficult and sans the asterisk.
You know what? We're not going to know until we actually do it, but I think there's a case that can be made for what you're saying because, again, there's going to be some late developing horses that would never have been in the Derby in the first Saturday of May.
Right.
I mean, recently, I know my friend Randy Moss talked about it on the broadcast, but Arrowgate, think about him back in 2016. He was an unknown at this time. He ended up being the 3-year-old champion, and there have been others that are just late developers that normally are left out of the Derby. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to be in it.
And the other race that you mentioned, the Travers, does he take a chance if he could win all three and be so well rested? Why would you run in that particular race? I know it's before the Derby, and there is a big layoff between now and the Derby, but isn't that risky?
Well, yeah, anytime you bring them out there, I mean, they're animals and stuff can happen. So, yes. But he just won, let's see, he ran at the end of March. So he was off about the same amount of time he would be off from now to the Derby. So he proved that he could do it. But I don't think you want to make a habit of that. I think you'd rather race him. But you know what? That's not – I mean, Barclay Tagg said the plan is to run him on August the 8th. But that plan could change. They may decide exactly what you're saying. Why risk it? We've already won a third of the Triple Crown. Let's just train them. We don't need to run them. But we'll see. It's also, by the way, it's $1 million race, and they're going to be the favorites. So, why not try to win another $1 million race?
Dick, on Saturday, did it have? It was close enough to close enough to where the Belmont falls. It was a little bit later, and it, usually a limited field, sometimes even smaller than the 10 horses. But did it feel like Belmont race day to you on Saturday?
It didn't. It just didn't have the same juice, and it was, again, no one's fault. There was no fans, and obviously they make any kind of a sporting event. The fact that it was the different distance, it wasn't the build-up, especially when you have a horse going for the Triple Crown. But you know what? I was just thankful that we had it at all, given what we've all been through. I looked at it that way. Hey, it's a great day of racing. A lot of really good stakes races were run. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see the 3-year-old filly Gamine from Bob Baffert's barn win her race by almost 19 lengths. It was just fun. If you love the game, it was just fun to watch it all unfold Saturday. But yes, it was very, very different.
We are talking with Dick Girardi, who's from BetOnline.com, and I wondered. It seems so eerie, especially like the pregame stuff, where you're going to reporters in the field and there's nobody there, and they're talking about how there's nobody there and there's weeds coming up, and it was surreal, I guess is the best way to put it. Is this the way it's always going to be, or is there a chance that there could be limited seating because they're outdoor events before this, before we see the Preakness in October?
Well, I think one of the main reasons that Churchill Downs at Pimlico decided to move so far back to September and October is each track was hoping when they made the announcement that by then they would be able to have some fans at their races. Now, like you said, is that some fans? I can't hard to imagine it's going to be 150,000 fans at Churchill with the infield packed. I just don't see that as a possibility given where we are right now. But that's the theory. That's the hope. But both tracks are in a difficult spot because people come from all around the world, especially the Derby. Hotel reservations, or you got to make a plane trip when you don't even know if you can get in or not. So it's a very tough spot to be in. And Churchill Downs and Pimlico specifically, these are the dates. I mean, they make their profit on these 2 dates every year. If they don't have them with fans, it's a real problem.
Yeah, Dick, it's almost like the neutron bomb of the 80s in the nuclear field, where I don't remember what it was going to do. Leave everything standing and kill everybody, or kill everybody and leave everything standing. But it's almost like you're having a party. Everybody got dressed up and nobody showed, like Saturday night's Trump rally.
Yeah, no, it's exactly right. And again, you could open it, like similar to the rally in Tulsa, but people may not come. They may not be ready to come. They may go, hey, wait a second. I'm not going out there in a big crowd. It's crazy. I'll watch on TV. So, yeah, I mean, we all talk about people you hear, hey, open everything up. Well, you can open everything up, but the customers still have to come.
That's right.
That's right.
They speak.
That's right.
I as long as we're going there, I've walked into some restaurants now where, honestly, if you go outside, they're pretty well attended, but inside there are not that many people. And in fact, a couple of restaurants I've seen, no one was in them. So your point is well taken. You can say, and this could be the case for football. We've been talking a lot about that. We could say, all right, we're going to have 25% capacity, and some people might go, I'm just not taking that chance. I'm not going to do it.
Yep. No, that's right. I mean, I think especially older people. I mean, everybody's heard the warnings, and that's some portion of the fan base. So, yeah, and people, and when everything's available on television, and you're thinking, well, at some point this is going to be normal. Is it 2021? And I can always go back. So, yeah, there's going to be a certain segment of the population, not just for these horse races, but I heard you guys talking about college football, for anything, that are just going to say, not yet. I'm just not ready.
And, Dick, we were talking earlier about baseball, and even in the fine print of if there's a return to baseball, the baseball could implement players that have been scratched could go back in after traditionally, historically, all these years, we knew them to be out of the game. When you said earlier, at least it was on and it made you feel better, can you promise me I'd feel that way about baseball if I see Skip Schumacher scratched and then he goes back in?
I can't do it, but I think you better adjust, right? We all better adjust to like a DH everywhere and unlimited substitutions. Yeah, I think nothing, again, if they're played at all, nothing is going to be the same. I mean, the playoffs, if they happen in the NBA and the NHL, very, very different than what we're used to. But if we're home and we're getting to watch it, that's like a victory. That's kind of how I would look at it at this point. And if it's different and a team wins the championship and they go, well, I mean, it's a little strange. That's just the way it is in 2020. We just all have to adjust.
Yeah. Back last
2020,
thing,
man.
Last thing for Dick Girardi, that is 'tis the law. That race, if it was the perfect world and you had 'tis the law, you would race him how often? Because we know he's going to be in the Travers in August. What's the ideal? Is it every 5-6 weeks?
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably the plan. So the Travers is 7 weeks. Then the Derby is 4 weeks after that. The Preakness is 4 weeks after that in Baltimore. And then the final big race of the year is scheduled for Lexington, Kentucky, the Breeders' Cup Classic, the $6 million race. I would think if everything goes perfectly, that would be the races that Barclay Tagg and the ownership team would like to run the horse in. And it's an ambitious schedule. There's a lot of money involved. But, hey, right now he's the top 3-year-old in the country. And keep in mind, in that last race, it's not just 3-year-olds. There are the older horses as well in that Breeders' Cup racing at Keeneland and Lexington in November.
Travers is all 3-year-olds?
It is. Yeah, the Travers is straight threes, and obviously the Derby and Preakness are straight 3-year-olds.
Dick, it has been delightful chatting with you. We'll do it again soon. Certainly we'll do it before the Travers.
And we may call about some college basketball with you too, Dick.
Anytime, guys.
All right.
You got it.
Sounds great. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, man.
Bye-bye. That is Dick Girardi for many, many years at the Philadelphia Inquirer, now with BetOnline.com. This portion of the show brought to you by The Butcher Shop, and they've got that $100 family meal for 4 still going on, in or out. And they got a little patio there, too, that if you're interested in, maybe you could make a reservation for. But the $100 family meal for 4 is the best deal going. 4 famous Butcher Shop entrees. Could be New York strip, Atlantic salmon, chicken breast. You can go up a little bit more with a ribeye or a filet mignon if you choose. It includes garden salad, baked potatoes, and French bread, and 4 homemade desserts with ice cream, including cheesecake or brownie. You make the choice. All that for a family, all 4 for $100. You can't beat it. And again, you can pick it up curbside. Just call 757-4244, or you can go inside. It's always cooking up good at the Butcher Shop in the Agri Center right there at Walnut Grove and Germantown Road. We'll take a break. When we come back, we talked about how Tap It to Win It seemed to be in control until the stretch. We'll give you that stretch run in just 1 minute.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
Glad to announce the Rendezvous open for business 11A to 8P Tuesday through Saturday. World famous Rendezvous up and running. If you need some barbecue nachos, brisket, ribs, maybe a cheese and sausage plate, the Rendezvous back and open for dine-in, carry out, and curbside. While not much changes in the alley basement, you will see a few small differences and additions. For now, open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. And they have desserts. Think key lime pie tarts, chocolate chess pie tarts. Spend some time downtown and visit our friends at the Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis since 1948. All of the Vergas family thanks Memphis and the Mid-South so very much for your support during these times, and they're there for you, as always, in the alley in downtown Memphis. Mr. Charlie Vergos and family's famous restaurant, The Rendezvous.
Ready to take on that painting project? Ask Sherwin-Williams and get 30% off paints and stains with sale prices starting at $26.94 June 19th through 30th. With 30% off our exceptional paints and stains, you can give some color love to your bathroom, living room, or every room in your home. Shop in store or order online for curbside pickup. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
My world was strapped against my back.
This Monday, post-Father's Day, slipping away quickly. So we talked a little bit with Dick Girardi just a minute ago about the Belmont, which was actually very exciting, and you pointed out this could have been an unbelievable win, like Secretariat's, if the horse had actually run a mile and a half. But a mile and an eighth was pretty impressive, and really, Tap It to Win It, who was Dick Girardi's pick, I thought had it under control. That was until the top of the final stretch turn, and Larry Colmus will bring us home.
And they're into the stretch of the Belmont, and Tiz the Law has taken charge. Set down in the final furlong by Manny Franco. Tiz the Law's got a 2-length lead. Dr. Post has moved up on the outside into second. Pneumatic is third, but it is the New York hero, Tiz the Law and Manny Franco, to win the Belmont Stakes. They took it by 4 lengths in the end. Dr. Post.
So we're talking history today, and that win, I should have brought this up with Dick, but that is the first time that a New York-bred horse won the Belmont since 1882. How about that?
It was eerie, though, just to see just nobody there at grandstand, just nobody there. You know, it's the 2020 that we've had to get used to. And he mentioned Randy Moss, the analyst, not the Hall of Fame wide receiver, of course. Dave, in all of sports, there may be no person with a mastery of their sport, their expertise on their craft, and he's really good on NFL Network too.
Yes.
But on horse racing, Hot Springs native, no surprise, Randy Moss he separates himself, but sadly, it's mostly just 3 or 4 weekends a year.
He is a good guy. First time I ever met him, and I probably have told you this story, was I was covering, while working in Dallas for KRLD, the coverage. They would send a person every year to the Arkansas Derby because there is a connection with Dallas and Hot Springs, Oak Lawn. And that's where I met Randy Moss the first time, and he was very helpful because, I had grown up going to tracks, but I had my own little method, but I really wasn't very scientific, nor did I really understand.
He knew it. He had a tout sheet when he was a teenager.
Right. And actually how to cover it and where you go for interviews with trainers or jocks and everything else. And met Pat Day through him, and it was really nice. He was a good guy, and I think you're right. He goes down as one of the greats as an analyst in his sports, and he's so good. They expanded his role to do NFL simply because he is such a good communicator of whatever he's trying to teach you.
Yeah, and how many people in sports also share the name of a superstar like that. I mean, every time he calls somebody, hey, this is Randy Moss. This isn't Randy Moss.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you because it was also on the text line, the First Bank text line, about the Eli jersey number 10 getting retired. And it's only Archie and Chucky Mullins that have their jerseys retired at Ole Miss?
Yeah, that's it. And Chucky's is really more memorialized,
Right.
canonized, recognized because to one senior player, not always a senior, on defense, they can wear that number. There was an application made to the NCAA one year, and it was for Matt Luke. Matt Luke's senior year, the team wanted to vote him the Chucky Award winner and have him wear it, but they wouldn't allow an interior lineman to wear uniform number 38. But Archie and Eli and Chucky forever remembered at Ole Miss, and I think 49 for Patrick Willis will be coming very soon.
So that'll be the fourth. I was other than that, is there somebody who you could make a case for that should already be in there besides Patrick Willis?
There's a bunch, but you just can't retire every number. I think Jake Gibbs probably should be, and many others. Gene Hickerson's college number, and he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. When I read that today, I thought that can't be right. Only 3 guys, but you're saying Patrick Willis will be the 4th coming up. A lot of history at Ole Miss football, that's for sure.
And a lot of places are reluctant to do it because you would get thin on numbers, and we're already, Dave, as you know, all the duplicate numbers.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need to cause more.
I definitely would agree with that. Sometimes on the special teams, I wonder if there's 2 duplicate numbers out there at the same time. It's not supposed to happen.
And you've had people penalized for it, for not getting that different kind of number on, and you having 2 on the field at the same time.
Right. That's 2 hours in the books. We'll take a timeout. When we come back to Orlando, we go. Keith Smith, who does such a wonderful job in Orlando with Yahoo Sports, really knows the lay of the land. Maybe he can update us on what's going on today with the plans for the NBA resuming. That's next on Sports Time on Sports 56.
This is Dave Wolf, President and General Manager at Southland Casino. I want everyone to know that Southland is ready to welcome you back. We have a new program in place to help us all stay safe. So if you're ready to play, the most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is open for you. Blackjack is live, the slots are rolling, and our clean team is on the job. So make this short trip to Southland Casino. Together we'll play it safe.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Central Barbecue is committed to the health and safety of this community, who has supported Central for almost 20 years. Central Barbecue is still open for business with to-go and delivery options to serve the greater Memphis area with the same great barbecue you have come to know and love. With 4 locations to serve you, from downtown, midtown, and East Memphis, you can order your favorite barbecue and enjoy everything on the menu in the comfort of your own home. Call your nearest Central Barbecue location for more information on delivery and to-go options today.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Our friend Keith Smith from Yahoo will visit with us about the restart plans in Orlando. This week is critical mass week for the NBA for sure on their restart plans. We get all that information from Keith after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's DeSoto Auto Sales down at 5704 Goodman Road. Visit them online at DeSotoAutoSales.com, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. All the cars, test driven, all checked out, bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and every model seemingly on that lot. And if by chance it's not, they will go out and find the car that you want for you. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales. You're treated like family when you walk in by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. But they do want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we're living in a world today that time really matters. Walk in, find the car you want, test drive the car, paperwork completed, credit approved, all in about 45 minutes in time to do it over your busy lunch hour or immediately like right now, right after work at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. It's that simple down at DeSoto Auto Sales. They'll treat you like family, and you will be one of the many repeat customers that you can find out about at DeSotoAutoSales.com. DeSoto Auto Sales, that town and country experience down in DeSoto County.
Keith Smith works down in Orlando for Yahoo Sports, as we're hoping still, and we'll know by Wednesday if indeed there's going to be an NBA resumption of play in Orlando in the bubble. And I'm going to ask you this first, though, Keith. We'll get into the NBA, but there is a story today from your neck of the woods, the Orlando Pride, which is part of the National Women's Soccer League, had to drop out after 6 players tested for COVID-19. They tested positive. What's the story there? And are we just seeing just too many cases in Orange County now?
Well, yeah. So what's going on with the Pride is it sounds like it was all asymptomatic players. Everybody seems to be feeling pretty good. Some of the staff as well had some positive tests. So they, out of an abundance of caution, decided not to play in the restart tournament that's going to kick off in Utah later this week. So they're out. As far as what's going on here is our case number has really exploded over the last, let's call it, week or so. Just kept going way, way up. And it was more than just the number of cases, which that was going to happen as we did more testing, but the percent positive was what got concerning. It, jumped up into a high of 17+% at the end of last week. Now the positive silver lining is things came down over the weekend, but as far as percent positive goes, but it's something everybody's got their eyes on because bringing the MLS here in about a week or so, and then having the NBA teams arrive here in just a few weeks after, it's really something that everybody's watching to see. Are we going to be able to pull this off and get them to Disney and make this season a success?
And Keith, the last time I checked was early this morning, so it could have increased. But in Florida, with the number of our seasoned citizens that we know that a lot of people go to in Florida, am I correct that going into today, just 48 fatalities in Orange County?
I believe so. It might have ticked up a little bit, but I know it was under 50 at the end of last week and going into the weekend.
Now, Keith, well, I would love. I want my preference for that number is 0. But seriously, on the night of Rudy Gobert, on that night when we were all shocked, we're all scared, we had no idea what we're heading into, and we saw the elder care centers in the state of Washington, even some at that time in California. They really got a great handle on it, and of course the sadness in New York State, largely in New York City. Wouldn't we have, if we had been super macabre, wouldn't we have bet over 48 to 50 to 60 in Orange County on June 22nd?
Yeah, we have been very fortunate. In Orange County is where I live. I live just off of Walt Disney World property, and it is, our lifeblood here is the theme parks and our resorts and that. And with millions of visitors streaming through this place all the way right up until they shut down. I mean, the scenes on the last couple nights that Disney and Universal and SeaWorld were open were looked like they were closing forever. That's how crowded those parks were. And we thought, well, this is going to explode, and we'll see. But we had been very, very lucky up to this point. And then as part of the reopening, I can just tell you, personal experience where I'm from and where I live. People just they stopped wearing masks about a week and a half ago, maybe even approaching 2-3 weeks ago. People just, they were done. They were finished. Everything was opening back up. We've got a handful of the theme parks are reopening and the like. And, it's just, it's tough to see. But, yeah, we had been, up until, very recently, we had been very, very fortunate in the Central Florida area that things had not been as bad as they were down in South Florida. They're still not quite that bad, but it is creeping up in a very concerning way.
Has Adam Silver been in Orlando much at all? What are you hearing at all from league officials now about this resumption of play? I know they got to vote with the players on Wednesday.
Yeah, so what the players are voting on is the final kind of go, no go, where we're going to play. All assumptions are is that will pass without issue, and that they will move to play. Now, a lot, can and probably will change between now and then, and hopefully it'll change towards the positive instead of the negative. But as far as Adam Silver, I don't know that he has been here. I do know, that some folks from the NBA have been on Walt Disney World property. They were the ones who for lack of a better term, toured the facilities, toured the hotel that they're going to be using, and really kind of signed off as, these all work for us in the NBA, and they've been here. There have been some broadcast partners who have been into the facilities over at the ESPN Bob World of Sports Complex to get a sense of what the setup is going to be there. But it's been very limited. There have not been all that many people here yet because they're just kind of trusting, we'll get there. We've got plenty of time to make this work, between sometime in the beginning of July and the end of July when we start games.
Keith, what is for you, for being right there at ground zero for this restart and someone that covers the NBA so very thoroughly, what still exists for you, the biggest fear for it to be a complete shutdown?
Yeah, that the cases just get too out of control. The plan as of right now, and it's 6:00 here on the East Coast, and where we're still not hearing any differently, is that the Walt Disney World cast members, that's Disney lingo for employee, are not going to be sequestered, quarantined, confined, whatever we want to call it, on campus. So it's not going to be a true bubble. They're going to come and go, and they're going to come, they're going to do their shift, do their work, and then they're going to go home at the end of their shift. So that's going to be tough because that just what am I trying to say? That just increases the likelihood that something gets in and gets into the players, and that could shut things down. I think if we had a full scale outbreak of coronavirus within the NBA personnel, they have to consider shutting down. There's not a lot of room to pause. And they've said, if one or two players gets it, we're going to quarantine them and we're going to move on. And I know different health officials have weighed in on the plan and have said, this is pretty thorough. Unless you're creating a true bubble, this is as good as it can get. But when you're, starting to push the heck out of, a 20% positive test rate, you get real nervous that, they're not going to be able to keep this thing moving the way it should be. So that's definitely something that's a concern.
I've seen, and I've not thoroughly combed it, to be honest with you, but a 113-page protocol that was put out by the league. It has even has a 3-page glossary to let you know what's in there. I mean, it is very thorough, and their explanation of the Disney staff is that there will be no interaction between players and the staff. The staff is never to be in a room when the players are there, and they're only going to service that room once a week. So I think they've done that. Do you get a sense maybe from the Orlando players or anybody that this is safe?
Yeah, I think most of the players I've talked to feel like they did everything that they can to make this safe outside of making it an absolutely true bubble. Now, that part that you're referencing, not going to be in the room, that's the housekeeping staff. So they're not going to be in there. And I've been told by the Disney people that I worked with for nearly 20 years that what's going to happen with the housekeeping staff is those folks will go in. There's going to be a schedule. So they'll be in there when they know the team's out of there, for probably about a 3-hour window off to a game or a practice or whatever. And they'll get in there, they'll do it, they'll clean those rooms, they'll change everything out, they'll disinfect, and they'll get out of there long before. The one concern where the staff and the players are going to be, in somewhat of close contact is when they're serving food, because nothing's going to be set up buffet style and all that. It sounds like they're going to do it. If you've ever been to a convention where they plate up everything in the back and then the servers come out with these big trays of plates, they may bring those out, and then it may be the NBA team personnel, the equipment managers, the coaches, and everybody, kind of brings it over from there. It may not be, shoulder side service like what you're used to in a restaurant. So that's all being developed. But that's probably going to be the closest. Other than that, there's not going to be much contact, if any. The one place where unfortunately you can't really avoid somewhat close proximity is going to be the lifeguards at the pools. It sounds like they are still going to have the pools guarded because that's just a safety thing on the Disney side. But again, those lifeguards, they're not in the water with everybody. They're up watching, and if you need a lifeguard at that point, you're going to take your risk with whatever else is going around because you need the lifeguard right then and there.
Golf courses.
Keith, what will the league office presence look like? Will it be Park Avenue South? Will the commissioner be there? Will it be trailers set up, or will they be inside the bubble as well?
Yeah, they'll be in the resorts as well. There is space set aside for them. It's not going to be the entire league office, coming and descending upon Walt Disney World, but there'll be a good amount. The expectation that everybody has is that Adam Silver will be on site, if not for the entire duration, but for the bulk of it. As you know, the commissioner generally during the playoffs is at a different place every night. He travels around the entire league and then is there for the entirety of the NBA Finals run. So that's the expectation, is that he'll be on site, if not the entire run, but for most of it, and then they'll have several other people on site to do what they do to support the teams and the players.
What about the entertainment aspect? I get it. The only thing that you're worried about now really is those servers for food, but guys going to play golf, or I guess there'll be bar setups. What is the protocol with that?
Yeah, so what they're going to do is they'll have some lounges set up. Primarily will be a player's lounge. I don't know that they're going to be able to come up and order mixed drinks and the like. It'll probably be a lot more bottled stuff, and that will be what's available to them. And someone will restock that periodically throughout the day. And then as far as golf goes, the players were all told that they've got to bring their own stuff. So JJ Redick talked about he's going to bring his clubs, and he'll be ready and prepared to play. And there's talk of one cart per person and those kind of things if they're going to play golf. And my expectation is just like they do now, because the golf courses here actually never closed throughout the duration of this entire pandemic. They've stayed open, but golf is a sport where you're able to socially distance pretty well outside of the folks that are in your kind of immediate group. And then they do a heavy disinfectant of each cart and any of the materials there. So that's my expectation, is that, it being an outside sport and not so many people, that they're going to do some of that while they're here.
We're going to wait a few weeks before we ask you about a Final Four, East and Western Conference Finals, and I'm going to do something really unusual. I'm going to ask a basketball question. Keith, there was a time today that I let my mind wander. I was following your Twitter feed and your stories, and there were real transactions being made, not the least of which what will be the percentage that don't show on Wednesday. Do you think that will be more single-digit ones and twos, or could it get into 10%, double digits, that players opt out of not going to the bubble?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see a huge amount. What we've, so far today, we've got word on a couple different players, Davis Bertans of the Washington Wizards and Trevor Ariza of the Portland Trailblazers. Neither one of them is going to come. We knew a handful of guys who either had surgery or are still rehabbing from surgery aren't going to play. So we're down, about if I added up, probably 7-8 guys that aren't going to be here. So unfortunately, all of them are key players for their teams. But Trevor Ariza has got a very personal issue with a custody dispute with his son. It sounds like that he's working through. So to me, that's a perfectly acceptable reason to miss. And then Davis Bertans he's going to be a free agent this summer, and he doesn't want to do anything to risk that free agency. And I was told if the Wizards were in the playoffs or they had a realistic shot of making it, I mean, they've got a lot of ground to make up to have a shot at chasing down Orlando or Brooklyn, he would play. But because it's such a long shot for them to make the playoffs, it's just not worth it. And how a coach explained it to me, which I think was perfect, was every year in April, when we've got a couple weeks in the season to go, teams sick guys and guys rest, or guys have back spasms all of a sudden and they can't play and the like. And that's just the way it goes. And this really isn't all that different over these 8 seeding games for a lot of these guys.
If you had a gut feel, what do you think happens on Wednesday? What will the message be?
Yeah, I think the message is going to be where we're going to play. I think the NBA hopefully by then will have some new details about how they plan to help the players push forward the Black Lives Matter movement, because that is still a very key issue. None of the players want that to be forgotten, as a lot of the talk has shifted to who's playing, who's not going to play, and what's going on with the pandemic. That's still a key focus for the vast majority of the players who are about to come to Walt Disney World here in the next few weeks. So hopefully they'll have some more details ready to go. But that is my guess, is it passes without any real issue, and then we'll probably get a handful more guys who decide that it's not the right decision for them to play or the right thing for them and their family. And as I've said all along, that's an intensely personal decision. You can't blame any of these players if they decide not to play for whatever their reasoning is. They've got to do what's right for them and their players, and I'm not going to be the one to question or rip them for that.
Will there be a key player on a contending team that says, I can't do this?
I don't think so. The sense I'm getting is all the teams that are in contention expect to have, other than injury, of course, they expect to have everybody here. And that's, what the expectation is. A lot of those teams, their talk has been, we're healthy now. We may not have been healthy, had the playoffs started in mid-April like usual, but now we're ready to go. And every team I've talked to that's, true contender, and there's about 7 or 8 teams that believe that they have a real shot at this. And that belief has only grown as they've gotten more healthy, and then you eliminated home court advantage. So those teams are really looking at this as, hey, let's go down there and make a real run at trying to win a title. So I don't think you're going to see any key guys sit out. Now, of course, if, things really change between now and the next couple of days, health-wise or, just matters in our country, then maybe that starts to go a different direction. But if things go the way they are right now, I don't think you're going to see any key guys sit out.
What will be the biggest off-season free agent story this year in the NBA?
I think it's going to be the fact that teams are just going to kind of punt and roll things over to 2021. I think the teams with cap space are going to do their best to not lock into anything long-term. It's not a very good free agent class to begin with. The handful of teams that are scheduled to have cap space, I think are going to have their eyes more on the summer of 2021, and hopefully that's when they'll be able to bring in some talent. That's looking like another very, very good free agent class. Giannis Antetokounmpo, free agent. Kawhi Leonard could be again. Paul George, LeBron James. There's all sorts of guys. So I think you're going to see teams that are positioned to be cap space players. It's probably going to be 1-year deals, maybe retaining some of their guys on a 1-year deal, and then looking to roll that over into next year. So I think it's going to be a less eventful free agency than we've seen certainly in the last couple of years, and nothing approaching the madness of last season.
Will we have madness in these in this resumption? Will there, because of everybody healthy and everybody rusty and getting pretty much after 8 games right into the playoffs, will we see more upsets than we normally would have?
We might. There's definitely the potential that exists for that. Well, one thing that is interesting is with no home court advantage, if the lower seed loses a couple games, there's a thought process that they just kind of pack it in because they know how they don't even have the bump of being back at home to get them back in a series. So you're just going to see them call it and move on from there. So I think you're going to see it be highly competitive. That's what the coaches expect as they put it. These guys, when they play pickup or at practice, there's a reason there's fights in those environments. It's because guys are competitive and they want to get after it. So I think it might be a little bumpy and a little sloppy early, but most people figure, 8 games in, about 2 weeks in, after a 3-week training camp, you can iron things out, get back into a pretty good rhythm. And I think you're going to see a good competitive playoff. I don't expect there to be wild upsets. Like, I don't think the Bucks are going to fall in the first round or the Lakers or anything like that. But I think you might get a series that are a little bit more competitive early than maybe what we expected.
Any regrets on maybe not doing the bubble multiple cities, Vegas, Houston, maybe even Dallas? Any regrets you think the NBA that they're having before they launch into this? Because I don't think this will define Adam Silver, but it will be a big notation on his resume.
Yeah, as far as I understand, not really. The Houston came in so late into the planning stages that it was going to be really tough. Las Vegas was really taken off the table once they made it clear they were going to reopen the city. And that was just something that the NBA felt like that's going to be too hard for us to control, too hard to control the players going out and those kind of things. And there were a lot of veteran players and a lot of owners and the like that said, I don't know about putting some of these guys in Las Vegas for 3 months. This might not be the best idea. So I don't know that there's necessarily regrets. I think they're, now they're maybe looking at it, with, wish Florida, and I say this as a resident, wish we could get our act together and, start acting right and, do things in a way that's going to be helpful for everybody. So I think that's the thing. But Disney, has everything you have to offer. And I think the NBA still believes, even with things, spiraling a little bit here in Florida, that they believe once they get on campus, they can confine things the way they need to, and that they're going to be able to pull this off without too much of a hit.
You mentioned MLS is doing the same thing. They are all coming, and there's going to be in that same area, I believe, in the ESPN Wide World of Sports. They're going to have their thing. How are they differing? Is their protocol similar?
Yeah, it's very similar as far as the interactions with the Disney staff go. Very, very similar. Now, they are staying at the Swan and Dolphin resorts, which are on Walt Disney World property, but are not operated by Disney. Disney leases those properties out to Marriott, but the protocols are very similar for how their folks will work. And then the folks that MLS will work with at the ESPN Wide World of the Sports Complex, very similar protocols to what it'll be with the NBA as well there. And there's still talk, if we can get into this after a little bit and things aren't, headed in a bad direction with positive tests and the like, that maybe they can allow, MLS players to attend NBA games, NBA players to attend MLS games if they want to. But MLS is, just like NBA, feels pretty confident that they're going to be able to get here and make this thing happen.
Crazy times. I guess we'll know on Wednesday exactly what the players are thinking between boredom, safety, and Black Lives Matter. Not wanting to
money
to take away and money. There's a lot of factors that are going into this decision.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big week. This is going to be a big week because if there's hesitation or that vote doesn't pass, then you really have to start to think, all right, then this is done. It's not going to get there. There could be minor things that maybe they could work out between now and arriving at Walt Disney World, but it's going to be tight. And then you've got the Toronto Raptors. They're should be right about now should be landing in Florida because they're doing their pre-Disney work here in Florida already to avoid the international travel. So you've already.
That was a good sign today.
Yeah, hopefully,
it was a good sign today.
It's tough. Yeah.
Keith, thank you for your time. We will reach out to you again if you will allow us, and we really appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Y'all stay safe, you and yours.
You too. Thank you much.
You
Keith
got it.
Smith from Yahoo, brought to you in part by Conway. Conway services heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, ways to get you into the year 2020. And right now they've got a deal. It's the perfect time, John likes to say, to get a brand new Carrier Infinity system. Because if you do, you will get back from Carrier a $1,500 Visa gift card. $1,500. Now, if your system needs 2 units, that's 2 different Visa gift cards. That's $3,000 in cards. How good would that be to have that kind of cash in hand this summer? And if that's not enough, John's always trying to entice you with more. How about an April air cleaner to get the dust out of your home? That's free, part of the deal. 10-year parts warranty, free. Nest thermostat, newest technology, free. And, of course, a payment plan that is so easy, so affordable, as low as $139 a month. And with Conway, you're always going to get the award-winning service every time. 8,000 5-stars on Google. It is. They take care of you. All you have to do is make the call. 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, the giveaway now, the Visa gift cards. There is breaking news. It is about the baseball union and their vote. It was very, very emphatic, and we will tell you what that decision is when we come back.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Hi, I'm Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get a customer's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or buy their products? By overcharging you in the first place, that's how. Five-Ash Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service possible and do it at a fair price, why would I need gimmicks to sell it? Best products, best warranties, and best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. Five-Ash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
This is Dave Wolf, President and General Manager at Southland Casino. I want everyone to know that Southland is ready to welcome you back. We have a new program in place to help us all stay safe. So if you're ready to play, the most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is open for you. Blackjack is live, the slots are rolling, and our clean team is on the job. So make this short trip to Southland Casino. Together we'll play it safe.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in as we cruise through our final hour. But I know, Brett, before we get to this breaking baseball news, you've got something for us.
I do, Dave, and we've got a baseball vote, and it was close, wasn't it? We'll get to that momentarily. It was not close. It was a landslide And if you're in Olive Branch, you can look at all the new All-Star Chevy trucks down at All-Star Chevrolet. You got more new Silverados at All-Star than you'll find anywhere. A lot less, too. Some still have 0 interest for 84 months with GM financing, or thousands in cash back for this summer. If it's a new Chevy you want, Olive Branch, that's the place to be. Drive one of these new Blazers or Suburbans. Talk about a summertime road trip. Summer's made to drive, and the best place to get one is All-Star Chevrolet. Finance with GM, and you could be payment-free for the rest of the summer. All-Star certified pre-owned Chevy collection, it's huge. All the Tahoes, Malibus, Impalas, Suburbans, everything. The new ones have warranties and all, just thousands less. This is the real deal. Remember, it's not South Haven, it's not Mount Moriah or Collierville or the Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Everyone at All-Star, one job. Make sure you get the best deal, have more fun, and do it in record time. Find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
So today was the day the union was going to respond to Major League Baseball about their proposal of 60 games, full prorated, all the expanded playoffs, the universal DH, and everything else. The vote came back. You'll have to explain to me how there's 38 votes. I'm not sure how we get that. We got 30 teams.
It's new math, isn't it?
But the vote was
Baseball.
33-5, and they said, Mr. Commissioner, stick it
up yours
where the sun don't shine.
Be careful, Dave. I've never heard you curse on that.
I didn't.
They did. Seriously. Did we add 8 teams in the last day that I didn't know about?
I was going to say.
Are the Expos back?
I don't know how they get to 30. You got the 30 teams, and then maybe you got union.
2 league presidents.
2 league presidents, the union officials.
Okay.
I mean, I'm guessing when I say it, I don't know, because I thought it would be, 30-0 or 28-2. I have
Baseball,
no idea.
you make it impossible. You make it impossible for baseball guys like all 3 of us to defend you. You make it impossible.
Well, I got to think that time ticking down, and they take their sweet time in finally getting to the 60 game, and I think they wanted to do that just because there would be only so much time, and I think the players are fed up. And they're going, okay, we're just not going to play. Because that to me is what I draw from this. This is so one-sided.
Now, he can unilaterally impose a 54-game schedule.
He can.
But who's going to show? What if players, I'm just not showing. Find me. Sue me.
Drew?
The 38 votes come from 1 MLBPA representative per team and 8 members of the union's executive committee. So that's how you get 38.
So it's the 30 plus the 8 members on the executive.
That's a very a union is powerful when they get to tack on 8 more votes.
Yeah. Well, and obviously they've made it said that they're not going to do that. Now, what happens if he comes back with 54 games and they just say we're not going to do it?
I would say no baseball, and that's probably where we're heading. And we mentioned over 70 games, somebody hitting 400. If that means anything to anybody, it may not to a lot of people. That's fine if it doesn't to you. That's more than fine if it doesn't bother you. But, David, 54 games, nobody's going undefeated. But I can remember in 1984 the Detroit Tigers starting 35-5.
Right. Well, the other thing here is they could just keep stalling for time because part of this was in this agreement you couldn't file a grievance. Well, they've said no to that. So they can go 54 games and they could file a grievance. And now we're gonna drag our feet, and this is gonna go through some sort of arbitration independent board that would look at that and make a decision on that. And every day is another 4 weeks before you could possibly get started. And I know they said they could accelerate it. They could accelerate it by pretty much doing away with spring training. I happen to know originally they were going to do a 2-week spring training, not a 3-week spring training, or that's what they were hoping to do. And I don't think the players were going to go for that either.
See if we'd have just had those spring training scores back in February, Dave. The exhibition baseball scores.
Who knew that those would be the only ones?
Who do you guys? Drew, you jump in here too. You love baseball. Who do y'all have antipathy for? Who do you have angst directed towards?
Go ahead, Drew.
Ultimately, I think there's blame to be distributed to everybody. I mean, ultimately, I hate Rob Manfred just as much as the next guy, but it's not his really decision. I mean, he does have bosses that's got to make happy. He's got quote-unquote employees and the players that he's got to make happy. While I still think he wakes up every day and figures out how I can ruin the sport, it's ultimately not his decision when it comes down to a 33-5 vote with the Players Association. And now every player that tweets out saying, you just tell us when and where, Rob Manfred, every player that's done that over the last 2 weeks, we're now seeing you're full of it and you're lying because he's tried to tell you when and where and you're not going to do it. So I'm fed up on both sides. And the billionaires just want to keep any little money and keep trying to get sympathy for saying we're taking such a big cut. You're not taking a cut, man. Nobody's selling a team this year. Everybody has blame to go around.
I tend to side more with the players on this than the owners.
Me too.
Originally, I felt confused. I don't know why that when in March they came up with the wording and the agreement with the proactive about prorated salaries, why they didn't discuss then the loss of a 40% revenue stream, which is pretty well the most accepted amount of money they get from fans in the stands. They never even talked about it. So this was, I think, Rob Manfred's mistake there. So I'm gonna label him for that one, because it's his job as a commissioner to be able to see what might come up and be an issue. And that was never addressed. And it looked like they had a deal, and they were just going to go with pro-rated salaries. And, I think they were originally talking about an 80-game season, half the season, and that was going to be livable. And then the owners decided, you know what, we're losing that revenue stream. We want them to share in our losses. We've never shared in our profits with them. We haven't paid them any more money than they were getting in 2016. And but we still want them to be good partners with us when we really haven't been very good partners. So I think the majority of the issue here is on the owners. And the owners have done a very poor job since the Kurt Flood case of trying to have a partnership with their labor force, with their players. The NBA does the best job of this, and that league has a lot of harmony. Now we'll see how that gets tested on Wednesday. But I think for the most part, that is a true partnership, and that is a commissioner that really works for both sides. In baseball, the commissioner works only for the owners, and it has been a mistrusted partnership back since Kurt Flood, probably before that, and it is not working. And I don't know what will wake them up, but after this vote, I just don't see how there is going to be baseball, unless they're just going to say, okay, we want our 55 games, and that's what the commissioner is going to give us. But I think they can file a grievance now, and by the time you get this thing sorted out, you couldn't get 50 games in and still get done by September 27th.
And I think that's part of driving it over the cliff too. Drew, respectfully, I don't give it equal sides. I blame it more on the owners than I do on the players. They could not help. The owners, nobody could help the virus. Nobody could had have avoided cancel games in March and April and mostly into May. But from about Memorial Weekend on for sure, June 10th on, there could have been baseball somewhere. It might not have been in the home cities. It might have had to been in a bubble. Baseball wasn't going to go to the trouble. I just feel Manfred and those owners trouble and expense of that sequestered bubble, whether it was in the Round Rock, Austin, Houston, Waco, Dallas axis area, or down in traditional spring training sites in Florida or out in Arizona. They weren't going to go to that much trouble. The NBA did. The NBA, they are really trying. It may not work for the NBA. We could get to Wednesday and it'd be a disaster. We could get into July before the first game played. They tried, though. In the NFL, they're doing everything they can. If they got to build a bubble on Mars, they practically will. Baseball just ain't got enough time for it. Can't get to it. So much for 2020.
Now, we should point out that in the statement made by the union after the 33-5 vote, they do say they are still committed to try to play this season. So maybe if he does come out with a 54-game schedule, they will not file a grievance and they will play it out because they say they are committed to the fans and to themselves. But we'll have to wait and see on that. That could just be lip service.
I think it is lip service. I don't believe anything out of anyone's mouth, whether it's on the commissioner side, owner side, or the player side. I don't think anybody wants to play. Players don't want to go out there and risk injury for a shortened season for an asterisk of a championship, and they want to renegotiate everything going into the 2021 season, and owners just don't want to pay anything. So nobody really wants to play. They're putting on a theater, which is what makes me mad. They're pretending. And that's what is irking me about baseball. Nobody wants to do it. Just come out and tell me.
Opening Day 2021. Do we have it?
No.
Do we have Opening Day 2021?
Yes.
We don't play this year. We don't play next.
I can't see how baseball could afford, as a sport in the world conscious or the United States sports conscious, for them to sit out a year, basically 2 years. They will lose their position.
Who's going to undig
their heels? It was a long time ago when the Washington Nationals won their fourth World Series win to be crowned champions.
And that, to me, is the biggest crime right here, is they could have been making a case as to why they're so great and why they were the national pastime. They could have been using this time with the spotlight on them. If they had gotten their act together, they could be playing games like the Korean Baseball League is. They could be playing games, and they would be the only game in town. We're watching Korean baseball. We're watching crazy games that we'd never look at whatsoever because we don't have it. And they could have all those eyeballs on that great game, and they've blown it. They've totally blown it. Because by the time
I'm going to take a flyer.
The time they come back, if they come back, the NBA is going to be underway.
I'm going to take a flyer, and right now, just a little bit, not a big bet. Surely I'll get some odds. I'd bet no on Opening Day 2021.
I just don't.
My confidence
I don't see that
in Manfred is just zero.
Well, he could lose his job if there's no season this year. If the PR swings the wrong way, and the owners, as you and I have just talked about, we place it right on the owners. Who could say that they don't force him out? Because there's such a lack of trust. That vote showed you today what a lack of trust there is between ownership and players. When it's
Dave,
33 to 5.
I think one of the three of us could have gotten 5 votes.
I think we could have gotten more. I truly do. I believe we
especially with all those lunches you now owe. Is
No,
that the big double up catch up? No baseball Opening Day 2021?
That could be, because really,
that's
now,
way too long for a payout. That's way too long for a payout. They need to up the
You
stakes.
lose that one.
No,
I don't want to cut into retirement money.
I hate to say this. We are even right now. You lost the Schwab.
We're not even.
I lost this. And by the way, you're on record as saying there would be no games in Orlando. Just want to remind you.
I still got to see it.
Yeah.
There was no wager, though. That was just show content, Dave. There's quite a difference.
That is true. That is. We did not make the wager because I should have spoken up quicker. This portion,
I'm sorry. You owe a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse franchise to Drew and I.
How about I give you a commissary? Because that's what we got to tell you about.
I'll
right
take
now.
it. I'd rather go to the commissary.
We had a great lunch with Andy Schiffman on Friday at the commissary.
We did.
And it started off with the cheese and the sausage plate. And is there a better
just built
cheese
and built
sausage?
and built?
No, it's just fantastic. And then he had the salad, and you and I had the small sandwich. And the small sandwich
that salad.
That
was 3 meals. That salad of his.
He took it home. There is no question. And he took home some of the sausage plate too, which is very good. He's a bachelor. He needs it. No question. And, hey, you just can't finish everything. We barely finished the small sandwiches. In fact, you don't even eat the bread. And
All
you
that
barely
great
got
food.
through it. It is really good. And the banana pudding and the lemon icebox pie, and it's safe. That's the other nice thing. You go in there, you feel safe. The inside part, even though we ate outside, but the inside part is socially distant, and they are taking it seriously. Everybody
in masks.
Is in masks, and that's the way we really, truly need to go now. If you're entering, wear a mask. When you order, wear a mask. And then to eat, you got to take it off. I understand that.
And it's just for the consideration of others.
It is. And that's where we are headed now, and they are already ahead of the game. And they do it the same way at the Germantown commissary, in that little quaint area, old Germantown as they like to call it. That's curbside. You can drive through in Collierville, but there's plenty of space in Collierville, and there's enough space in Germantown. They are open both ways. Whether you take it out or whether you want to eat inside, the Germantown Collierville commissary, well, it's still as good as ever. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, it'll be time for Crunch Time.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
Happy summer to everyone from the Rendezvous in the Alley in downtown Memphis since 1948. And don't forget about their shipping, but you always can visit the restaurant 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. Want a taste of Memphis to celebrate the 4th of July? The Rendezvous, they've got you covered. They've been shipping ribs and pork shoulder all over the country now for decades from their USDA-inspected kitchen right in the Pinch District in downtown Memphis. All of the ribs are hand-cooked in pits over charcoal, just as they do it at the restaurant. And the shoulder, it's slow smoked over hickory for 14 hours. In addition to the ribs and shoulder, the Rendezvous ships pork nacho boxes as well as their signature sauces and seasonings. You can order at hogsfly.com, or you can always visit In the Alley since 1948, the Rendezvous. Don't forget that Memphis institution in downtown Memphis, In the Alley since 1948, Mr. Charlie Virgos and family's famous restaurant, the Rendezvous.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get insane.
Welcome back in. Final portion of this Monday show. It is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch and Genesis of Olive Branch. And those are the two in the same building that keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I can't wait for the Genesis SUV to come. It's still going to happen. I know they're a little bit behind because of the pandemic, but it will be here soon, and you'll see unbelievable technology in that. Of course, you already get that with all the Hyundais and all the G cars, like my G70 right now. I like to say fastest, best performing car I've ever had. Also the safest. All the technology in both Hyundai and Genesis cars is absolutely next generational. It is so safe. I hit a button, and I'm telling you, the car will drive itself. Some of the cars will park themselves, and they won't let you, if you're on a cruise control, run into another car. It's fantastic and durable. Every new car on the lot in Olive Branch, right there at Craft Road and Highway 78, every new car gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. And I love to talk about how these guys at Homer Skelton and Genesis of Olive Branch have been together forever. They are. They're a team. They've stayed together because, one, they're successful, and two, they love what they do. And they love taking care of you. Same people have been working there for years and years and years. Go meet them. You'll love it. And they always come up with reasons for you to buy from them. Right now, 0% financing for 84 months. You'll never pay interest on your note. And you've got 120 days to make the first payment on select models. So you're in the pandemic, you've been unemployed, you've just gotten hired back, you don't have the cash right now, you can get your car because on select models, you don't have to pay for 4 months. Some of the deals are for 3 months. Go see my guys. They'll tell you which is the way for you to go. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. It's a place you've got to go see to believe. It's time for Crunch Time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working? It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo! Woo! Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave, I've learned today, and I feared it when we had Dr. Threlkel on way back early in all of this, and I said they didn't move the goalposts, they moved the stadiums. They moved the stadiums out of the time zones, maybe moved the time zones into another country, maybe to the international date line. You can't have perfection. The PGA Tour, 954 tests administered. They've had one negative test, and it was freak out. The headlines and the tweets screamed in panic. One, we don't want anybody sick. We sure don't want any fatalities. But remember, the fatality rate is 5%. 95% that if you get it, you will not die.
The one person, Nick Watney, immediately quarantined. The tournament went on. It went on with a lot of drama. Webb Simpson winning at the end. My point is, it kept going on, and one guy is sitting out, and the rest of the tour is moving to Connecticut for this week. So I thought the PGA Tour handled it absolutely perfectly. I learned a bunch of stuff today. The Major League Baseball Players Association vote, pretty darn to it. 35-3. They said no. We don't want the commissioner's 60-game deal. Now we're putting the onus on him. He could try to make us play a 54-game deal, but we don't accept this. Dak Prescott signed his franchise tender today, $31.5 million. Now they got a little less than a month to try to get a long-term deal for him. And we learned today, speaking of the PGA, we learned they got the green light. We will have August 6th through 9th, the PGA Championship in San Francisco's Hardy Park.
Looking forward to that. Could have done without the person that did that to Bubba Wallace. That imagery, that hate by someone to leave a noose in the NASCAR garage. They're going to catch him. And what kind of loser is rolling around with the handy noose around? Knowing right now what that message would send, I hope they catch him and prosecute him to the fullest extent of the 2012 hate laws.
Well, they've got the Justice Department on this thing and the FBI, and when they do find that guy, because that guy works for NASCAR, works within NASCAR, I'm almost certain.
It's an insider.
It's definitely, and he's going to be an outsider. He is going to be drummed right out of NASCAR. There is one good
go to jail.
NASCAR story today. Did you see the Civil Rights Museum logo is going to be on the NASCAR
I did.
car of
Denny
Denny
Hamlin
Hamlin.
in it,
It's
in
the
the
FedEx
FedEx
car. And FedEx is giving $500,000 to the Civil Rights Museum. That is a very nice gesture. I could have done without the news that the West Virginia team that was supposed to be in the basketball tournament, the TBT, has COVID. They're out of the tournament. It affects everything.
Keeping a close eye on it. Keeping a close eye tonight on a lot of things. Did you see the comments by Muhammad Ali Jr. with some really choice words for some of the protest groups? The dust storm. It's going to be here later this week. Did y'all see it?
No, I still haven't seen that story. The Sahara dust
storm. Shouldn't we name it like we named these winter storms now? Let's name it.
Where is this dust storm coming from?
It's coming from the Saharan across the Atlantic Ocean, up through the Gulf of Mexico, almost like a hurricane.
Well, you mentioned
Shouldn't we name it like we do the winter storms?
Well, we should. But this is the first, so it's got to be an A. Alabaster. I don't know.
And the how about the Mayan recount? The world didn't end, did it?
No.
We're not really just going through the motions, are we?
No, but there could be an accounting problem there, they say.
I mean, the Mayans had to have a better accounting system, it sounds to me like. Who kept a checkbook balance among the Mayans if they're doing this? If they can't count any better than this.
It is a crazy time in our world. We've got every plague you could imagine. I meant
dust
to
storm.
Google the dust storm. I've got to Google it. I have not seen anything on it yet.
Do it tonight, Dave.
All right, I'll do
I
it for
tweeted
you.
out a graphic from Channel 7 in Little Rock of the plume of the dust storm.
I saw it, and it looks terrifying.
How big is the plume?
Pretty big.
Like, is it miles?
Looks like
Yes.
I'm in the eye of the storm. It really does, doesn't it, Drew?
It does. I mean, it's a big little plumage.
Man, all dust, all sand. Lord.
From over there.
Lord.
They got a lot of sand over there.
Lord. What a time.
What's next?
I don't know. I'm going to be looking to see what the players do, how long it takes Rob Manfred to come up with, because he's mandated, he can do it.
Dave,
with
quit
his plan.
betting on Rob Manfred.
I'm not betting on him.
Come on, Dave.
I'm not betting on him, but I'm going to watch because the ball
Don't expect
is
anything
in
out
his
of him.
court. He's now he is in charge of coming up with a plan, a schedule that he can mandate. He was given that ability on March 26th.
Next year, any teams contracted. We have 30 baseball teams next year.
Yes, we will. They're not going to lose a team. They may move a team, but they're not
Then
going
there
to
was
lose a team.
Then there was plenty of money. They may move one. You're right.
Interesting day for sure. We got to thank Ted Butler and David Cobb and Dick Girardi and Keith Smith, who's got the lowdown of what's happening in Orlando, and I'm looking forward to seeing what their vote will be on Wednesday. Amongst our guests tomorrow will be Joe D'Ambrosio, because the PGA Tour is going to Connecticut this week. And again, I point out, I think when they found out that they had a bit of a problem with Nick Watney, they took care of it. It was never a problem after that. And who would have thought, with the only live sports we got going now, the first 2 weeks would go to Daniel Berger and to Webb Simpson with those fields. Crazy stuff. We'll do this again tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Folks, Bob Burkhammer for Sunrise Chevy. Good news for new and used car and truck buyers. The Sunrise Chevy Ranch has a great selection of new and used cars and trucks, rebates up to $6,500, and interest rates low as 0%. At sunrisememphis.com, you can select your vehicle, get your trade appraised, arrange financing and delivery. We'll deliver right to your doorstep, disinfected and ready to go. No matter what your past credit, Sunrise wants to get you financed. Immediate financing with next to nothing down. Need service or body work? Bring it to Sunrise or schedule an appointment online. Find new roads to Sunrise Chevy, 385 in Houston Levy, Collierville.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles